Meeting of City Council for Monday, April 27th, 2026 to order. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment. Our community over the weekend has lost a few community members that have been pillars to our community and have done a lot to give back and shape the community that we live in today. So I just wanted to take a moment to send all of our condolences to their families and those that are affected and grieving. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize them and just let their families know that we are with them through their tough times, and we'll be there for them. So. The City of Dawson Creek acknowledges that we are privileged to live and work on Treaty 8 territory and the traditional home of the Cree, Danazé, Saulteaux, Sicanee, and Slavey First Nations. We value the Métis peoples that live and gather here, and we commit to upholding the respectful relationships these nations have built with the land, and we acknowledge our responsibility to carry that forward today and into the future. So 2 delegations, 2.1, we have Sherri, Mytopher, with the Ambassador of MS Canada in attendance regarding the proclamation to declare May 2026 as MS Awareness Month in Dawson Creek. So, morning, Sherri. Welcome. How are you today? I'm good, thank you. Good. Okay, whereas multiple sclerosis is a neurological disease affecting approximately 1 in 400 Canadians and over 90,000 across the country, with symptoms that vary widely and may include fatigue, lack of coordination, weakness, tingling, impaired sensation, vision problems, bladder and bowel problems, and congenitive and mood changes. And whereas MS is thought to be caused by a combination of genetic, environmental, and lifestyle risk factors, and whereas annual fundraising events such as the MS Walk, MS Bike, and A&W Canada's Burgers to Beat MS campaign support programs to enhance the lives of people affected by MS and help support MS research in Canada. And whereas since 1948, MS Canada has provided over $224 million for MS research and is grateful for the dedication and commitment of supporters and volunteers that have made this possible. And whereas together we will find ways to connect and empower the MS community to create positive change and see a world free of MS. Now, therefore, I, Darcy Dober, Mayor of the City of Dawson Creek, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as MS Awareness Month in the City of Dawson Creek and encourage all citizens to join me in this worthy observance. So, yeah, I think this says pretty much all of it, but, it's just always a great time of year when we can recognize this, but also your commitment to bring awareness and all of those that are committed to bring awareness to everybody, and the fundraisers and all of the support. So, so thank you. Thank you. I do have a mic if you wanted to add anything, just for anybody that's listening. Yeah, it's more for anybody that's listening outside. Right. So yeah.
So I just wanted to say, this year we have MS Walk in Fort St. John, and also pub night silent auction. Last year raised just around $15,000 at the pub night. Dawson Creek community donates items to the silent auction, which is amazing. So I've been doing that. This will be the 7th year. So the commitment to Dawson Creek, from Dawson Creek and the community, has been amazing. Last year when I was here, whether you remember or not, I was talking about the cost of my medication. So it was $60,000 for 14 pills. So I had to take that twice, so I did 2 years of that, and now I am medication free. My last dose of medication, of MS medication, was this January. So that just proves the research that's happening and the awareness and the education, things are changing. So really excited that potentially could be my last, my last medication for MS ever. Obviously not cure, there's still no cure for MS, so the raising awareness and everything is so important to the MS community. So I do thank you and appreciate the support from everybody.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm happy to hear that for you. So that's, it's come a long ways. Yeah. And, just in my time, I had a friend when I was quite a bit younger, like in my early 20s, that at MS, and they did a lot of different things, so it's nice to hear that it's come that far, right?
Absolutely.
So that you can live with that, so, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. I will sign this here.
Do we have a flag? Do we have pictures?
Did you want to get a picture with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
okay.
Oh, with my picture, I think
Congratulations.
it's
Are you?
on-
So that's so then
amazing.
you have to go back like every test or
Just MRIs, yeah, so
Really?
we do just MRIs to see if there's any new, like, lesions or any progression, but I feel great on it, which is amazing, so. The old medication I was on was terrible. like,
68
just bad
68
quality of
grand for
life, and I was
14
on it for
pills, it
7
should-
years, so, yeah, it was, I was excited, I'm like, I'll try it, I was leery about it, but,
Yeah,
But yeah,
happy for you, that's exciting.
yeah, it is, it's really good.
And did that in Canada too, with you?
Yeah.
The road.
There you
Well,
go.
how you
Gosh,
doing?
why is it-
All right, I don't know if you want this and then.
Yeah.
Proclamation. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exciting. Thanks for coming up.
Of course, thank you.
You guys might as well stay up here if you, or if you want.
No.
Or do you want to come back up?
I don't want
For
to
Hayden?
get around Charlie
Okay.
again. Sit down over here. Welcome to AUC.
All right, next, 2.2. We have Rachel Wiener and Bronwyn and Hayden Fontaine. This is one of my favorite council meetings of the year. So we have them in attendance for the proclamation to declare May 2nd to the 9th, 2026 as National OI Awareness Week, and May 6th, 2026 as Wishbone Day in Dawson Creek. So morning and welcome. I called your name, so you have to come up with your brothers. So. You can, yeah, you can blame me for that. So. All right. So whereas osteogenesis imperfecta is a genetic disorder characterized by fragile bones that break easily and is commonly referred to as brittle bone disease. Individuals are born with this disorder and experience its impacts throughout their lives. And whereas different types of OI range in severity from mild to life-threatening, and whereas although there is no cure for OI, treatment focuses on minimizing fractures, surgically correcting deformities, reducing bone fragility, and maximizing mobility and independent functions. You could probably start reading this for me pretty soon here. And whereas increased funding for education and research is necessary to advance understanding and develop more effective treatments. And whereas Osteogenesis Imperfecta Foundation declares May 2nd to the 9th, 2026 as National OI Awareness Week, during which board members, staff, medical professionals, and volunteers come together to focus attention on OI and individuals living with OI. Also declare May 6, 2026 as Wishbone Day, all to raise awareness about this disorder. Now therefore, I, Darcy Dober, Mayor of the City of Dawson Creek, do hereby proclaim May 2nd to the 9th, 2026 as National OI Awareness Week and May 6, 2026 as Wishbone Day in the City of Dawson Creek, and encourage all citizens to join me in this worthy observance. So, yeah, it's always inspiring, this day. It's one of, when I say it's one of my favorite days of the year, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's because I get to see you, Hayden, that you get to come in here and bring awareness to what you've been through. And yeah, and then I get to read the little write-up that I think your mom does on the notes. So it's been how many days since you've?
I think.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's over 2,700 now.
2715
I'm pretty
was
sure it's
on the
over
list,
that.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, so it's big.
yeah,
Yeah.
7.5 years, 8
Yeah.
years almost.
Yeah. And Hayden now also, due to treatment that he receives, we get to go once a year now because his density falls within the range of an average kid, which is awesome. So it doesn't mean that it won't happen again, but treatment and awareness has come a really long way for his condition. So
That's amazing. And it was
Yeah.
a couple times a year before?
It was twice a year before,
Twice a year.
which we travel to Prince George for
Yeah.
it with an outreach clinic, but now it's just once a year we're traveling for a bit, so.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. Was there anything that you wanted to add? Or?
Just thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No,
It's
you're welcome.
appreciated.
We appreciate you bringing the awareness as well too, and yeah, it really is an honor to have you both here. Thanks for coming up.
She's so brave.
I know. I like it. Did you want to say anything?
Treats, or you have to go right back to school after?
They're going right to school after.
That's what I said to her when I was in the back. I was like, "Oh, you get to miss school?" She's like, "No, we have to go afterwards."
Hit the
Yes.
snack tray on your way out the door.
The longer I talk,
Draw it out.
oh, I should have talked slower. I'll try to remember that for next year. So.
Next year we need a video.
Yeah. All right, should we get all of council to come out here with us for a picture? Yeah.
Even though you were just up. Right?
Yeah, we gotta get our steps in, 'cause there's a lot of sitting today, so.
Over here. All right. This is very sweet.
Closer.
There we go.
More for safety.
Yeah. Is Charlie smiling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much as he smiles.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you so
Very
much.
cool, you guys. Very
Well, I see you
cool.
guys next at the parade. Seems like that's when I run into
think
you.
so, yeah.
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 All
Hey,
right.
well, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Serena.
Thank you, guys.
Have fun in school.
Thank you. I might tell you the happy
Yeah,
Justice.
absolutely. Yeah.
For everyone to see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Have fun in school.
Good day. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. All right, next 2.3, we have Jamie Gillingham's Health and Safety Officer, Jocelyn Redford, CUPE Local 2403 Representative, and Brad St. Germain, IAFF Local 2136 President for the City of Dawson Creek in attendance regarding proclamation to declare April 28th, 2026 as the annual day of mourning in Dawson Creek. So, good morning. And welcome.
Morning. Thank you.
Welcome. I'm going to read this here. So, whereas April 28th is recognized across Canada as the day of mourning for workers who lost their lives or were injured in the workplace. Established in law as an annual day of remembrance, and whereas the day of mourning honors workers who have lost their lives, suffered injury, or experienced illness as a result of workplace incidents or exposures, and serves as a time to remember the families, friends, and co-workers affected by these losses. And whereas this day also renews our shared commitment to fostering healthy and safe workplaces and to preventing future workplace tragedies through awareness, education, and collective responsibility. And whereas employers, workers, safety organizations, and communities all play an important role in promoting workplace health and safety and in helping prevent occupational injuries, illness, and fatalities. And now therefore, I, Darcy Dober, Mayor of the City of Dawson Creek, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2026 as the annual day of mourning in the City of Dawson Creek and encourage all residents to remember those who have lost their lives, been injured, or become ill due to their work, and to reflect on the importance of workplace health and safety in our community. Yeah, I guess a couple things. I want to thank you for being here and just the awareness that you bring to not just to the city team, but to the community on how important this is. And last year this team faced some difficulties with injuries with a few of the city team members, and we're blessed and grateful that those members are still with us today and their families. But it really does show that accidents do happen, and it is important that we bring awareness to this and recognize this each year. So I just want to thank you for that. I also, it's not too often we get the opportunity to have city team in front of us. So I also just want to thank you for your commitment to the team at the city. And, it doesn't go unseen what all of you guys do every day, and moving our city forward in a positive way and looking at the good in life and moving forward. So, yeah, it's just always nice to take these opportunities because it really is appreciated by this whole council for all of the city team. So, yeah, I just want to thank you, and yeah, like I said, it is definitely a tough year last year for injuries, but definitely grateful that those individuals are here with us today. So, yeah. Yeah. So, was there anything that you wanted to?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for having us. And I just want to highlight, we do have representation. I know that Mayor Dober mentioned it, but representation this year from IAFF local and CUPE local as well, our two unions within our staff. I do think it's important to point out that we are all working together to continue to make our workplace safe. And by bringing this forward, we do hope that it filters out through the community, right? Awareness is key, and the whole goal is prevention. So, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you. You don't want to say anything? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Does everybody want to get up again? I think we need more steps. We've done it twice. Oh, we're good? Okay.
But no.
Yeah.
As the other people we get.
Yeah. You're not young. And perfect.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you. Need to push you around.
Yeah, you always enjoy that.
Ours was chomping at the bit this morning. That's what I was gonna say too. It's got the mic light on, ready to go.
Always ready.
You will not be beat by anybody this morning.
Actually, I hadn't touched it, and it was on, but
Wanted to be first on the list.
Freddie Tolbert.
All right, next we have 2.4. We have Glenda Farnden, Senior Municipal Relations Liaison with STARS Air Ambulance and Attendance regarding the STARS annual update. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Always lovely to see you. There you go. Good morning and welcome, and the floor is all yours. So.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's always great to see each of you and to bring you your annual update. Perfect. Thank you very much. So last December 1st, 2025 was the official 40th anniversary of STARS being in Alberta. So serving Albertans as well as the eastern quarter of BC. 40 years, more than 63,000 missions flown in that time. Always remaining a charitable model, meaning that there is no bill to the patient from STARS. This is not possible without partnership. STARS is quite honestly an anomaly, quite possibly in the world, that we have this type of service, critical care to the highest level, and always in partnership to ensure as we go forward that we will still be here for the next 40 years to serve our children, grandchildren, and those generations yet to come. If you ever find yourself in the worst case scenario, STARS is your best hope. Of course, it was founded by Dr. Gregory Powell. He was a most exemplary critical care physician, and it was his vision that we would have this, especially for rural areas, that everyone should have access to the highest level of critical care no matter where they live, work, or play. Unfortunately, on April 30th last year, previous to when we would have our 40th anniversary celebrations to celebrate his legacy, we lost our founder, Dr. Greg Powell. And it was very devastating to our team, But as we move forward, we are now committed as a team that we will carry on his legacy. We are now under the leadership of Dr. John Froh. He is the new president and CEO of STARS. He is not new to STARS. He has been with STARS for 13 years, previously held the role of Chief Medical Officer for all 6 bases across Western Canada in 3 provinces. We have bases in Winnipeg, Regina, Saskatoon, Edmonton, Calgary, and Grand Prairie, and serve the eastern quarter of BC. So once again, we find ourselves under the leadership of a very exemplary critical care physician, and I assure you we are in very good hands. Currently, the numbers are up from what I presented to you last year as well for operating costs for 3 bases in Alberta, $36.6 million in total for operating costs per year. So roughly $12.2 million per base. We do receive government funding from Alberta Health Services that represents $15 million block funding each year, which is 41% of operational costs. This still leaves 59% that must be fundraised each year. Does not include administration costs, all of our education and training, as well as all of the highly specialized medical equipment on board. We reach out to individual donors and corporate in order to fund these additional items on top of the operational costs that we fundraise for. A picture is worth 1,000 words. We have a brand new fleet, 10 helicopters in the fleet to serve Western Canada. They are all identically equipped. It must be of a critical nature that STARS would be involved and bring a response. Only if there is access issues would we go for a lower level patient. 80% of all missions are, number 1 is cardiac, vehicle incident, medical, which will include stroke, so all other medical components, as well as trauma. So everything that we pretty much respond to is very high level critical care. We also have blood on board now. Previously, I had spoke to you about carrying 2 units of universal blood on board. This is blood that can be accepted by any one of us. Because we have seen such high incident of very severe trauma and many patients that are at very high risk of bleeding out, that we are now carrying 4 units of universal blood. Last year, I told you about the massive hemorrhage protocol. It's a brand new medication now that with these very high-level, high-risk patients, that we can also apply this medication and help these types of patients to build blood clots while we give them the second 2 units of blood while en route to tertiary care. It is a game changer in these types of patients. We also carry the thrombolytic drugs for heart attack and stroke, as well as the fact that there is very highly specialized equipment on board. Every helicopter is equipped identically the same. It is an airborne intensive care unit environment, just like you would find in the intensive care units in the hospital, just much more compact. A key aspect, and we have seen this here in your area as well, is the fact that STARS is borderless. All helicopters and all medical crew cross all borders across Western Canada. This is essential in the fact of mass casualty incident. We recently, last year in June, we were able to respond multiple helicopters to the rock slide in Banff. Over the past 6 or 7 years, across Western Canada, there has been some very significant multi-casualty incidents as well that we have been able to provide interprovincial multiple helicopter response. So this is another key aspect for all of us across Western Canada. This is showing you a 5-year overview of all STARS missions flown within the Peace River Regional District. So you will see that we cover many different areas throughout the Peace River Regional District. 85 in total for the last 5 years. So as well, Scene and Search and Rescue, or SAR, that's shown here, are coded to the nearest community. So you may find areas that are outside of, because our pilots always code to the nearest community. but we use actual landing location in order to identify that it was within Peace River Regional District boundaries. Also, a new aspect in being able to utilize the highest level in technology is now we are also able to provide virtual care. So this is a key aspect for your area and your medical professionals in the fact that if the helicopter may be out on another mission, maybe it's weather dependent and we're not able to come physically. It does not mean that we cannot provide critical care for your medical professionals virtually. This is a secure link so that we can actually, your medical professionals can show our transport physicians who are available 24/7 the condition of the patient. We can provide medical as well as procedural guidance. You know, lots of the more smaller rural hospitals, they don't see critical care every day. They don't intubate every day like our crew members do. So now we can actually provide procedural guidance as well and oversee critical care when your medical professionals are presented with a trauma or severe critical patient. Of course, I've always presented to you about the International Air Medical Transport Simulation Competition each year. This is worldwide, where like systems will provide a team of two to go internationally on the international stage and compete. We have participated, for 23 years straight. In the 23 years we have competed in this international competition, STAR's team has placed in the top 3 all 23 years. This is in the world. And last year, I'm very pleased to announce that on October 28th, at the 2025 competition, once again, STAR's team took first place for the 9th time. I assure you, we are bringing the highest level of critical care to your residents and area. This is going to show you where we are at now with the municipal support, which includes all of the 7 districts throughout Peace River Regional District. Currently, we have 95% of Alberta is in partnership. These are the ones in gray that will show you that they are currently on board and working through a graduated proposal in order to reach the minimum $2 up to $100 per capita requests that we have in place in order to be a regional leader. This shows you everyone that is a regional leader, including yourselves, that everyone is in partnership providing somewhere between $2 and $100 per capita annually. Teal green shows you 9 provincial leaders, which also includes yourselves as part of Peace River Regional District contribution each year. 9 provincial leaders that we are a line item in their budget. They are giving significant fixed rates of support on a standing motion, and they are all represented on STAR's helicopter with their logo as well. We're very proud to have the Peace River Regional District logo on our helicopters for, I believe, 18 years now. And finally, in red, which also includes Peace River Regional District, in the fact that every town and village, every area that's within a boundaries of a county or district or municipal district are also in partnership with their county or municipal district. So this is very much a representative of the solid, united effort that we are all doing something together to ensure the next 40 years of STAR services. In closing, I would like to say thank you, City of Dawson Creek. You are provincial leaders. We are very proud to have you on board and have you as a partner, a solid partner with STARS. For the last 19 years, we have been working together. Many, many lives have been saved during that time. And as we move forward, as I explained before, this is only available with partnership. So we thank you for your partnership with STARS. Together, we are not only saving lives, we are saving families, and we are saving futures. This picture is worth 1,000 words. Take a good look. We are committed to providing critical care anywhere. And with that, I would like to present a token of our appreciation that's representative of 19 years in partnership with this plaque
Excellent.
in order to say thank you very much. And I would like to ask for a photo opportunity.
Okay, absolutely. Did you want to do questions first, or do you want to do the photo
Sure, we can do
first?
questions first.
Yeah, okay. I guess one thing just before I open it up, Glenda, I want to thank you for coming here today. I also congratulate STARS on 40 years. That is a huge milestone, and just the commitment to everything you bring to our region, and it's just so nice to see in the world we live in too, where that border doesn't mean anything.
That's right.
That we're all in this together. This is the Peace region, and I also wanted to touch too, just for everybody that's sitting here, but the Peace River Regional District, I believe, committed it was another 3 years, $150,000. $170,000 a year. So that was just recently done. So yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you and thank you. I also, we had a tragedy in our, one of our neighbors earlier this year, and yeah, just devastating for this whole region, but I know STARS was a key component to helping them through that, especially those initial moments of the tragedy. So I just wanted to thank you for that as well. I know, yeah, there was a lot of support from STARS there, so I just want to thank you. And yeah, it's just, yeah, and thank you for coming up today. It's much appreciated. So
Thank you. I would
welcome.
like to add to that we were very humbled but very grateful that we could assist your rural community there that really was overwhelmed and really needed all the support they could get. So our crew members did respond. We did not fly a patient because BC was, of course, wanting to keep their patients within the BC health system.
Yeah.
But we did remain for several hours in order to assist them with all of the patients. And just a couple of weeks ago, we were honored to have 4 members from BCEHS that came to our Grand Prairie base and awarded our air medical crew members, the paramedic and the flight nurse, with medals of honor that have not ever been given outside of BC. So it was a very emotional and heartwarming opportunity that none of us will ever forget.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Council, any questions? No?
Well,
Oh.
just not a
Councillor
question,
Parsons?
if I may, but I think you contribute so much to STARS by the excellence of your presentations. Thank you for coming on a regular basis. Look forward to seeing you every year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Councillor
much.
Parsons.
It's my pleasure to work with all councils across the province and into Peace River Regional District as well. This is my 20th year with STARS.
20th. Do you tour the whole province, or is there a few Glendas that do that?
I've been doing the whole province.
Oh, wow. You must be busy.
It's a lot of councils, but as you saw on the map, there's just so many, and it's such a solid, united effort.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. All right, well, we will get a picture. Oh, sorry, Councillor Apollonio?
I can't help, but I just saw the passion in you. And every time that you are here, we are getting lots of information and the good things that you're doing. I just want to put it out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Okay.
You really front-loaded this one with photo ops, Dover.
There's no part of my stuff.
I think we should make the RCMP take you. That's just what
Yeah, we should, right?
Yeah.
Are we offended? And Sue Carson? Come on, shoulder. Where's John? Thanks so much.
I really appreciate your time. Thank you for the very kind words.
Thank you very much.
Where did you go? Oh, Charlie.
Oh,
No, you're on the place.
Very kind words.
Good to see you over here.
Okay.
I really can't say, but it is, it incorporates all the chain of survival partners in the background, so.
Oh, in the
I'm not
picture?
Yes,
Oh.
in the plaque.
Nice.
So,
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, next order of business 2.5, we have David Sheach. Yeah, sorry, David. Nonprofit portfolio manager, Terry Waterhouse, regional director, and Chris Wetmore, coordinated access and assessment management with BC Housing in attendance regarding the BC Housing operations update. So, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Floor is all yours. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We very much appreciate the opportunity and the time to spend with you. As you mentioned, we're here to provide an update for you on the services and resources provided by BC Housing in your community. And we're very proud, and we'll also like to do the land acknowledgement that you made as well, that we acknowledge that we are privileged to be here today with you as you live and work on Treaty 8 territory in the traditional home of the Cree, Danaza, Saulteaux, Skani, and Slavi First Nations. We, like you, value the Métis people that live and gather here. We commit to upholding the respectful relationships these nations have built with the land, and we acknowledge our responsibility to carry that forward today and into the future.
Thank you.
So what we'd like to do today is just quickly run through an agenda here. So we'll just do, and you've done the introductions, thank you, and our acknowledgement. We'd like to provide you a sense of the overview and the purpose of BC Housing, talk to you a little bit about the housing continuum of how we provide resources and services to low-income individuals, moving from homelessness into shelters and up into various forms of supportive housing, and also how we provide an array of affordable rentals in your community, and then take some time for questions and discussions. First of all, in terms of our purpose, we are here today, and the work of BC Housing is to promote strong, inclusive communities where people can thrive. We have both a social housing mandate and a regulatory mandate. From a social housing perspective, we operate along a housing continuum that provides the services that moves people from homelessness into the supports they need so that they can thrive and live successfully as independent citizens. We provide here a sense of what the types of services we have on that continuum. This continuum moves people from homelessness, addressing homelessness, providing supports for low individuals, and social housing with various levels of supports. As we move up the continuum, in terms of how people access this part of the continuum, there are three different processes. We provide residency and supportive housing. It's facilitated by our Coordinated Access and Assessment Committee. Chris Wetmore here with us today manages our team that does this. Here we use a standardized process where people with supportive housing applications are reviewed and supported through a coordinated access table. We have 8 of these tables across the northern BC throughout our northern region, and 8 of them, and you do have one of them here. And Chris's team works with all of your community partners to ensure that we have a thorough understanding of the needs of homeless individuals to, as quickly as possible, move them into the supportive housing, the shelters and the supportive housing that you have. Those are the entry point of our continuum, if you will, because we also have a variety of directly managed processes. Any citizen who meets the criteria can apply here through our Housing Connections program. We provide the applications, and applicants are subject to criminal record checks, and applications are reviewed, first of all, by a nurse to determine who is suitable, and then by an entire team, and then we seek to match within our directly managed portfolio individuals' needs with the housing opportunities in the community. Our staff manage those facilities, but we thrive with our nonprofit partners because the vast majority of the services that we provide, we use contracted services with nonprofit partners in every community across the region and within the partner through those funded partnerships. So there are multiple entry points and entryways within the system. This just gives you a little bit more sense of how we use coordinate access and assessment, and the table that we have here in Dawson Creek, where the left-hand side here shows that we have one standard sort of single application and unified process. All the documentation is put together for people who are seeking housing to move from homelessness, and then the coordinate access table receives all of that information, and that information flows through to provide individuals with various forms of housing, either in supportive housing, for example, in my home place here, but also using rent supplements, so individuals could be provided with rental support to move into private market housing within the community. Really, the point here is to say that right from the entry point, if you will, we work very closely with your community to ensure that your local experts, your nonprofits, your folks in Dawson Creek who are on the ground are working with our team to make the best match for individuals seeking, in this case, supportive housing. So that explained that already. And then when people do enter into supportive housing opportunities in Dawson Creek, of course, it is my home place. We fund in the nonprofit here, Connective, as you are aware of, to provide the types of services people need to thrive in that housing. It's everything from staff, 24/7 staff, support services, emergency services that gives them laundry facilities. There are case managers that will work with them to provide an array of supports to stabilize formerly homeless individuals so that they can move up the continuum. In terms of stats, there are 32 units, as you know, in my home place. The goal is always to move people into supportive housing, but to provide them the supports, the stability that allow them to move up the continuum, if you will. And Council probably interested to know that in the last year, 5 individuals were able to move up into more independent living from the supportive housing, which provides the opportunity to provide new homes for individuals. And so within those 32 units, they're almost always full, and when people do move to new housing opportunities, we try to move new individuals in there so that we have very few or very short-term vacancies at best. We also do a lot of supports up the continuum, where the part of the continuum shows how we provide affordable rental within the market, and through either a rental assistance program or BC Builds, we support the building of independent housing units in the region. This just provides a sense of the various forms of housing programs, funding programs that we have to do both for seniors as well as the general population, for individuals and for families. It's not always obvious to folks that we provide targeted housing not only for individuals, not only from homelessness, but also for families, and we have an array of services for seniors, so support seniors housing as well. This just gives a sense of how we're structured. As we said, a lot of the work that we do is with our non-profit housing partners. So David Shia, who is with us, is for your region, our nonprofit portfolio manager. He works with your nonprofits, the providers who do the landlord-tenant relationships. They do the property, they do the finance management, and David works with them. He helps them with their budget, helps them with their operating agreement, ensure the relationships are there, that they can work efficiently and effectively within your community. Wanted to also give you a sense of how much the housing resources are provided in your community. Right now, we are providing 432 individuals and families with housing assistance of some sort within your community. Those are units within the various types of housing that I've talked about today. Of the 188 of those are rent supplements that we provide to individuals, seniors, and/or families. This is essentially provides support to assist with rent, 188 of those, and as you can see, the 244 individuals who are provided housing units directly themselves that we own and either managed by our staff or nonprofit managers. So we're very proud to say that we have an array of homes of various types. The columns or the table on the right-hand side shows the breakdown of the various types of housing, and then corresponding on the map shows that there are BC Housing homes and resources in multiple parts of Dawson Creek. And then thinking about going down the future, we always value, and one of the reasons we come here is to, work to show our commitment, our willingness to work with you, and how our local government relationships and partnerships are so important. In order to do the work that we've done to date and the work that we can do in the future, it's very important to have your support, whether or not that could be through tax exemptions, waiving development permit costs on new bills, fast-tracking applications, doing the kind of community planning and the pre-zoning and land contributions that make the work a little bit quicker to happen when we do have projects. Finding any grants or other supports that you do provide to your nonprofit partners in the community is very helpful, and ways to facilitate the partnership, the valuable partnership that we appreciate and that we have. With that, as I said, we wanted to just give you a sense of some of the resources and the processes we use, and we're happy to take any questions that council may have.
Perfect. Just before I open it up, I just want to thank you for taking the time to come, and it's always nice to have you come and present and just share this information, because it's definitely learning. But I also just want to thank, I've had quite a bit of dialogue with David over the last, I guess almost 4 years, but I just want to thank you as well. You just have always been, always been great at responding and making time for the community. No matter what if it's been challenges or good things, like you're always there and present. So I just want to thank you and thank all three of you for coming up today to present to council. So I'll open it up to council first for questions. Any questions? Councillor Parslow.
Yes, thank you. Over the years of my interface with organizations supporting people facing challenges, and these are all comments I've heard over the years, but just want to touch on a few of them, okay? What is the capacity in this community to handle emergent needs for housing? The background that's in my mind about this is that we don't have much of a capacity to deal with emergent needs compared to other communities in the north. Is that a fair statement? And if it is, what can we do to improve that situation?
Thank you. Very good question. Emergency housing services essentially are provided by shelters, shelter beds within a community. Those are usually the only places that can be accessed immediately. And in your community, and I would suggest across the north, there are always unmet needs. And I would suggest, and we would be very keen to, we have had conversations with staff, and we'd be keen to continue to have those conversations to see what we could do to increase shelter access. Is a particularly vulnerable time of year when the weather is, when the weather is, worse and cold. That there are sometimes not a lot of supports, and those that are full. So increasing capacity is always a goal of ours, and happy to continue to work on that and look at how we could increase that.
So what's the procedures here? Municipal governments don't usually get engaged with this sort of thing, I believe. The challenge that we have here is we seem to be, with our different groups, somewhat fragmented. People come and go, and there's definitely a need for improved community coordination in this whole area. I and my councillor colleague MacDonald there, we've tried, we're continuing to try, but it's a problem. The question about shelters, of course, yes, many would say, who know far more about this than myself, although I've had a lot of interface in trying to support this matter, is that we need more shelter space. And so the question is, what role can municipal government play in in trying to provide data and information concerning this need. Because as you know, winters are very tough here. The other comment around the emergency shelter is that I hear that some of the individuals have had such bad experience with shelter situations, or they're scared to go there because of who's there. That it would be nice to have separate units available on an emergent basis. This isn't the forum to get into solving problems, but just some background to you. So the emergency backup is an issue here. Shelter space is an issue. Getting people to work together, different agencies, is complicated by the often turnaround or sometimes the financial issues some of our groups get themselves into. I don't want to mention names of groups, but I'm sure we're all aware of that. So, just as how can the municipal government get involved in a facilitative role, and what are there some examples, good examples that you can draw on within the North that we might want to replicate?
Yeah, thanks. Again, great observations, and yeah, thank you for the information and the question. The municipality plays a very important role in partnership, and it does look different in different communities, but I think you and your staff know your community best. So in terms of ensuring that we have the best data about the specific types of challenges or needs of your community would be step one, really, that we do receive and appreciate getting from yourselves and your staff. But I think facilitating where a location might be, getting a little bit concrete about what are the options and opportunities, where could there perhaps be a facility that could be used. Identifying a nonprofit group that we can work with is a very important part of the model, because once we find a facility, either we can work together, we could find the facility, and then we can find a nonprofit operator that could operate the shelter. That often happens, or sometimes a nonprofit will come to us and they will have a location and they will come to us with a funding proposal, and then we review those, vet those, and then make decisions about whether or not we would fund them. But if there is a shared goal to spend some time and invest in looking for solutions and opportunities, we could definitely do that together, and would look forward to doing that.
Thank you. Okay.
So there's some debate, the role about municipal governments.
Yes.
There's the physical infrastructure, which I don't think everybody, that's what we get heavily involved in.
Yes.
But there's those who would argue there's an equal need to be involved in the social infrastructure.
Yes.
And that's something larger communities certainly are involved. Small communities such as this, I think, are generally absent in that field.
Right.
That's just an observation.
And if I could just in response, thank you for that. I think the main mandate for providing and for funding the services certainly sits with the province. We do have that mandate, and we fulfill that mandate. But in terms of having a local government partnership is very important, because we want to make sure that when we're making decisions about what we will fund, that the municipality, the local government, is fully aware of it, and then you do have the mandate around the zoning issues, for example. So your mandate is not the primary mandate, but you do have a part of that mandate, and it is an important partnership in order to be successful. And when those shelters work, they work because of the partnership we establish with local governments.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you to our delegation for your report, and it's very much appreciated, and specifically just speaking to the coordination with municipalities around zoning for shelters and stuff like that. It's certainly As you noted, it's chiefly provincial responsibility, but as the front line of government, we certainly hear about it first if things aren't working. So it's very much appreciated. So, couple questions, I guess. In your presentation, it looks like you guys do a lot, and that's wonderful. My concern echoes some of the sentiments expressed by Councillor Parslow. Or number one, in a community of our size, we've got a limited depth to our bench with respect to how many nonprofits can offer these services, how many people have the training to do that, and then I guess just around, how's coordination, and then at a larger level, seeing how you bring nurses into it and the healthcare thing. How is the interplay or the communication there, and with respect to ensuring that people aren't kind of in their own silos operating? And the reason I ask is because we get an update periodically from our RCMP staff sergeant, and one of their common frustrations in dealing with Northern Health is when someone gets picked up due to a mental health concern and they take them to the hospital. Sometimes they've got one or two officers tied up for hours upon hours trying to do that handoff for somebody who should more appropriately be dealing with healthcare, not police, because they're not necessarily against the law. They're just having a hard time. How's that interplay between various government agencies go, and what's being done to ensure that silos aren't creating inefficiencies?
Yeah, I mean, I can't obviously speak to the hospital example, but I get the point that you're making within that. I think what I can speak to is the coordinated access process, which is essentially allocating the vacancies at my home place. How do we learn about the people that are in need within your community, and how do we make the decisions about who we house or put the offers to at that point? I think at that table, we've got, obviously, PC Housing leads the process. We've got the operator of supportive housing, which is Connective, and we've got the Ministry of Poverty Reduction, Social Development, and we've got the Ministry of Health, or Northern Health, at the table. And then other nonprofits in the community attend as well. I think we find that we've got really good engagement from the partners in that process, as far as identifying people within the community, bringing them to the table, or bringing their circumstances to the table, and coordinating that discussion around who's at the greatest need today, who's the most vulnerable, and how does that fit within the current mix within the building. So I think we have good integration there. I don't know that I can definitely take that to the next level about your specific point about officer time.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know to what degree you can track that, establish metrics around wait times or turnaround times when a vacancy is established. What's the wait list look like at my home place for the moment?
Yeah, so I guess there's two ways to look at that. You could look at the number of people who have submitted a supportive housing application, and I think, I probably have it on my phone, but I think we're looking somewhere around 50 to 60 or 70 individuals right now in our system that have a application that has been submitted. And
are they chiefly located in Dawson Creek or the South Peace, or?
You know what, for that number, I haven't looked specifically, but what I can say is that everyone that's been housed at my home place within the last 12 months has come directly from being unhoused within Dawson Creek. So are they a long-term Dawson Creek resident? Not necessarily, but they were
here for a year.
Established here first.
Yeah. And I know we got the, BC, the 2025 homeless count last year, and I think I don't know when the next update will be, in a year or two, usually for us.
Usually every other year.
Every other year, yeah. And are you familiar with that? Do you get that as, okay. So just wondering if you could, and I don't know if you know this, but it's the classification of sheltered homeless includes those who stayed overnight on the night of the count in homeless shelters, including transition houses. Would my home place count as a transition house for the purposes of these statistics?
It would not, no. Everyone that resides at my home place has a tenancy, pays rent, and they're
okay, so they're technically no longer unhoused as per, okay. I'm just wondering if that would be a useful subcategory to include in this, as we, as you talk about that continuum.
Yeah.
they move up that continuum, but, you know, it's nice for us to see. And I get, given the nature of how they collect data, it's an imperfect metric, but it's, you know, for us at a municipal level, it's a metric that we don't have the capacity to collect ourselves, so.
So essentially, you're saying maybe a category that's looking at newly housed individuals who have
Newly housed, or people who are still kind of on the cusp, but not, simply because, I mean, if you were to look at, from 2023, we had a total of 52 with 34 unsheltered and 18 sheltered, whereas last year it was down to 49 with 23 unsheltered and 26 sheltered. So I was wondering if any of those sheltered included my home place, or that's still.
Yeah, they should not be included in
yeah,
my home place.
okay.
No, but you make a good point, because I think the services that the people are receiving within my home place, if those weren't part of the picture, the tenancies might not be successful.
And just as far as getting a more holistic picture of where we're at and what progress we're making as a community, I mean, the total number of people experiencing homelessness is roughly the same, but you've got twice as many sheltered as unsheltered, as opposed to previously where that number was flipped. So I think that's progress by any means. And I guess the last piece I wanted to ask is, once again, looking to your presentation and seeing how much you guys do, and that's wonderful. For somebody who's struggling with poverty, for a senior citizen who maybe isn't terribly computer savvy, for people who aren't plugged in because they have more emergent needs taking up their time and energy, how is navigating the bureaucracy of BC Housing to find a fit for them, if you had to guess, as an inside observer? Because from an outside looking in, I see the presentation. That seems like a phenomenal amount of bureaucracy for somebody who's struggling with poverty to navigate. So how do you guys ensure that people who need help aren't being deterred by paperwork?
Do you want me to touch on that? Yeah, and I think the answer looks a little bit different depending on the community, because in some communities, Prince George, for example, we have directly staffed outreach workers that can help navigate some of those processes. If we look at Dawson Creek, I'm not going to ignore your point. You're right. There is no regional BC housing office that a person can just pop into and get some hands-on help. But I think that's where we do our best to work closely with our nonprofit partners, ensuring that we have those ongoing relationships with them so that they know when they come across individuals, they're able to help them navigate that process. And when they don't know the next step or don't know if there's something in place, they know they can reach out to us. But how does that connection happen? I would say through the coordinated access table, a lot of those agency and relationships are developed. But I don't know that that's always exactly the same in every single community, but I think in Dawson Creek that's probably the answer right now. But you're not wrong. There are some.
Yeah, no, and just like I said, or as Councillor Parslow noted, we as a municipality have a vested interest in involving this, but we're limited in the resource we can allocate to it and how we can monitor and ascertain whether we're making progress, whether we're losing ground, and like I said, with nonprofit organizations that don't have a deep bench, if you get a key person leave, you can lose a lot of ground in a very short amount of time. So just food for thought, I guess. But thank you very much for your time here. Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Apollonio?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just thank you for the delegations and thank you for the presentation. I just want to express my personal appreciation for especially for my home place, for connective management, for keeping that place wonderful looking. You know that when we started here, I think like 4 years ago or 3 years ago, it has a different stigma, but the way that your staff are working on the building, it's good. At least it's erasing those stigma that this is, I know that we are housing unhoused individuals, but the fact that your staff there are working hard, so it means a lot. My question is there any possibility that you will build more houses for them in Dawson Creek?
Yeah, there's always the possibility. There are no projects in the pipeline right now, but we certainly would be looking to do that in the future. We work through funding windows that are set up and open from time to time, and currently there is not an open funding window for additional housing of that type. But one of the reasons we're here is to continue the collaboration going, so that when opportunities do become available in the future, we would be ready to build on the success of My Home Place.
Thanks, Councillor Apolonio. Is BC Housing in partnership with the North Winds facility in Poos, the village of Poos?
Yes.
Because that would be similar. Yeah, okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought. Any other questions?
Can I have another?
Well, I don't know. We might have to call a vote on that, so.
Well,
Councillor Parslow.
you mentioned community access table. I'm kind of surprised that my colleague, Councillor MacDonald, didn't jump in there, because some of us have spent hours trying to support certain things. So I don't think we have, whilst there's funding for community access table, having a functional one is another matter, okay? And so I really appreciated Councillor Earle's questions, because some of the volunteers who walked alongside some of the people who are in desperate straits have articulated that they need somebody who knows the system, can help, etc., and they try to help. This is not a criticism at all, right? Just talking about the reality here on the streets, expressed to me by people I've spent a lot of time trying to, as in my limitations, to support. Is it a fair comment that proportionally Prince George has far more services and programs available to its population, I'm talking proportionately, than communities such as Dawson Creek? That is a statement I hear repeatedly from not-for-profit organizations in this community and a major for-profit organization. Is there any truth in that? And what are we missing that we should have here that's not functional here?
If we're thinking proportionally in terms of actual numbers, we'd want to crunch the numbers a little bit to be precise, but I would say proportionally, or from a per capita perspective, is probably the ratio is not all that different. What is different is that there is quite a strong nonprofit network in Prince George that do all collaborate together, and there are a number of outreach services within Prince George that does make a difference in terms of managing street homelessness, for example, and the movement of individuals into resources when they come. So proportionally, I would suggest that probably the numbers are not significantly different, but there are additional resources in larger communities like Prince George that are challenged to have in the smaller communities. That part is definitely accurate.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. I just had a question, just on your numbers on the unit count, so the 432, I guess, like, there's a lot of varying needs that this assists in our community. So 432 is the unit. So two questions. One, do you have like the total number of individuals this impacts? And then also, out of those different categories, is there like a couple that are like at the top of the list that are kind of bursting at the seams for, you know, when you're talking about low income families or supportive senior housing? Like, is there ones that are, you know, closer to the top that are in need, right? And I think of like the vulnerable population in our community, and that's like on your list, that's like middle or to the bottom of the numbers. So I'm just kind of curious to to where that all sits. So.
Yeah, I would say the greatest pressure is right at the beginning of the continuum in terms of homelessness and having, as we've discussed, enough shelter and supportive housing facilities is definitely would be an area of need, but also low-income families. We do have a number of families on the waiting list, if you will, within the housing connection system. That's the system we use to provide low-income families housing. We have a number of units in the community, but we also have a number of families still seeking housing, and low-income families is definitely an issue that we're working on. We're trying to turn over units as quickly as we can in that, and we are, in fact, we're just beginning a project now to remediate a number of those units that are for low-income families because the pressures are real in your community.
Do you have any idea how many are on that wait list?
I believe it's around 30 families.
30, okay. And do you have a total number of individuals that you guys assist? Like there's 432 units, but is that equivalent to, do you know how many actual individuals or residents that impacts?
Yeah, a good majority of those are families and or seniors, which would be a couple. So a unit would be 2 individuals. So if we did the total individuals supported, it's probably in about 600 to 650 people.
Okay, thank you. I didn't have any other questions. I do want to thank you for coming up here today and presenting and taking the time, really to come up here and, educate and let us ask questions, and we hear a lot about it. So I know there's a lot of different levels that deal with this, so it's nice for everybody just to understand how it works. So, so thank you.
Great, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm just going to call a 5-minute break here, so. For funding for Peace Arts Festival 2026. So good morning and welcome. The floor is all yours.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
We are here to talk about the Peace Arts Festival this year. It's back, and we are expanding it into 2 important components into one coordinated model this year. That means that we are bringing back the adjudicated festival format, which was previously delivered locally through the Peace River South Festival of the Arts. And we are continuing with the existing Peace Arts Festival performance and visual arts programming. So the adjudicated festival was a longstanding part of arts development in this community, and this year we're bringing that component back into the festival structure. So building on that foundation, the 2026 festival brings a full range of programming, including the adjudicated festival, which is dance, music, theater, and voice, along with live music performances and visual arts programming with artist-led workshops. The goal is to create a festival that supports performance, participation, and appreciation across different skill levels. And within that structure, adjudication plays a very specific role in supporting performer development. So the value of accessible adjudication. Adjudication provides structured professional evaluation that gives students and emerging artists clear, actionable assessment, builds performance skills, confidence, and stage readiness, supports progression in formal arts training pathways, and providing this experience here at home in a familiar environment creates a welcoming and accessible entry point for students. It helps build confidence locally, which better prepares participants to take part in larger competitions across the region. To make this possible, the adjudication program requires specific operational support, which leads to our funding request. So we're asking for support specifically for the adjudication program this year. We're requesting $2,500 from the City of Dawson Creek to directly support the costs of bringing adjudicators to Dawson Creek. So while participant registration fees will be charged at $15 for an individual and $6 for a group, this is the first year of the program's reintroduction, and final participation numbers are not yet known. So as a result, there's a potential gap between the registration revenue and fixed delivery costs, which the funds will directly be used for adjudicator fees, travel and related costs, accommodation, and meals for adjudicators. This support ensures the program can be confirmed in advance and delivered at full capacity without introducing barriers or to participation or transferring financial risk onto the organization. This stability is what allows the adjudication component to function as intended within the broader festival. So the impact to the community, with the adjudication in place, the festival strengthens local arts development by supporting student and emerging performing growth, giving students access to structured evaluation at home, enriching the quality of arts education in Dawson Creek, rebuilding a sustainable pathway for emerging or ongoing arts development, which creates a continuity between local training opportunities and broader education advancement opportunities. The Peace Arts Festival is growing into a more complete model that combines performance, visual arts, and the return of adjudication to the community. The addition of adjudication strengthens local arts development by giving students and emerging performance access to structured professional assessment close to home, while also supporting the overall quality of programming in Dawson Creek. The requested municipal support of $2,500 directly enables the component to take place at a consistent standard in its first year back. We appreciate Council's consideration and the city's ongoing support of arts and culture in Dawson Creek. And, yeah, happy to take any questions that you have.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming in, and I will open up to council first here. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you both, or all three of you for coming. Good to see you. So just so I have it clear for myself and my colleagues and fellow city staff. So the value of adjudication above and beyond, I mean, the immediate feedback, I guess the distinction would be between, if we were to use a sports analogy, difference between an exhibition and a tournament where somebody who's successful may go on to another higher level. And without adjudication, that opportunity doesn't really exist. It's more just essentially an exhibition locally so this ties us into a larger provincial culture of art, which if I recall from our meetings previously, Dawson Creek was a part of, and then in recent years had fallen off. And now we're looking to recapture that capacity.
We are looking to reestablish our good standing with Performing Arts BC, which enables participants from our festival to move on to provincials.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and a big part of adjudication is that qualifying to go to the next level, but the more important part of it is getting feedback. So in the Arts Festival, a student or a class of students will perform, and then the adjudicator will actually spend a few minutes with each student, which is incredible for the students. They actually get kind of echoing of what their teachers are already telling them, but from a different teacher, and it lands differently. It's also a professional development opportunity for the music teachers. Like as a teacher, hearing some other ways of professionals explaining things, sometimes it gives us new language, and we're able to reach our students in a different way too. Dawson Creek used to be connected in with the provincial system. I'm not as familiar with the dance side of it, but in music, piano was provincial qualifying up until like the mid-2000s. For voice and other disciplines, we had to go elsewhere. So I know for myself, I would go to Fort St. John to be able to qualify to go further beyond that. And I had choirs pre-COVID days. We were shooting to go to Prince George every year, actually, but because that wasn't available in Dawson Creek. And so since, I don't think there's been an adjudicated festival since 2020. I think in 2022. So at that time, 2021, I think was all virtual, and then 2022 was haphazard. There were very few music teachers actually teaching at that time. And so it's just kind of died. And as a result, we have students who are still taking lessons but are not comfortable performing. And we go, well, do you want to perform at this thing? And kids are like, because they don't have any experience. So it's a really important thing for our kids.
Okay, and just one or two more really quickly, if I could, Your Worship. You noted in the fees that it was 15 per individual, 6 per group.
6 per individual.
Per within the group. Okay, I was going to ask. Okay, and lastly, I guess, have you been able to secure any other sponsorship for this event?
We have applied to NDIT for the Fabulous Festivals grant.
Okay, and any like private businesses sponsorship? I'm just thinking, I know, for my other job at the credit union, we get the sponsorship sheet, 1 or 2 sheets from the International Chainsaw Carving Competition every year, and one is, sponsor a carver's meal and hotel and stuff like that. So just thinking in future years, it might be worthwhile to pound the pavement on that, see if you can get the tab picked up by.
We have a sponsorship deck. It will be going out this week. Next year, we are planning this in October and not April. So then that should be going out to, we're looking for private businesses to donate up to maybe $250 just towards festival cost to pay performers. And so look for that in your inboxes this week.
Okay. Yeah, that was my only other question. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Worship. How many groups have you already had signed up?
That, I think we have about 4.
4 groups?
Yeah.
And how many different disciplines?
I want to say one is a tap dance group, one is voice, and the other 2 I'm not actually sure about.
It's hard because this is the first year trying to get the adjudicated component back. People don't want to register until they know who the adjudicator is going to be. And the adjudicators don't want to confirm until they know how many people they're going to be adjudicating. So we're...
Chicken and the egg. Yep.
Yeah.
Understand that for sure. But this festival happens in 2 weeks?
Yeah. 3 weeks. 3? Yeah. 3.
Well, it's the 11th, right? May 11th?
Yeah.
So 15 days?
Yeah.
So do you have your adjudicators lined up already? Have they made travel arrangements? They have hotels, et cetera? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said something about sponsor decks coming out. Is that for this, or you said something about October?
So I think that next year we will start this a lot earlier.
Yes.
With everything that was going on, we plan to do this in June like we normally do. And then once we realized that the adjudicated component cannot happen in June, we had to bump it up by a month. And then we put on CreekCon this year, which absorbed, of course, all of our resources up until the end of March. And then it was full speed ahead on this, and it was a learning experience. So.
Yeah. It is coming through very last minute this year.
Yeah.
And
Tough for sponsors, right, with only 2 weeks out?
Yes.
Yes,
it
very
is,
tough.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. Yeah, and that's, again, this chicken before the egg and trying to get all of the details in place first. The other thing is that we can't get funding or anything from things like NDIT until we've done something in the past. So we can't get any funding for the adjudicated performance or portion of it because we haven't done it in so many years. So it's like, and then from Performing Arts BC, they want to see that we've delivered something before they want to accept us back into the circuit. So yeah, it's all just, it's been like, we have Peace Arts Festival anyway, and we have to do something to get back into adjudicating. So we're sneaking it in hopes of getting something on the board this year and then building it again for next year.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Councillor Parslow.
Yes, I don't want to dwell on the history, but I'm a huge supporter of these adjudicated festivals. In 1981, when I came to be the superintendent, we had a very strong festival, very strong arts throughout the community. So I'm all for you starting this up again under one umbrella. And yes, if you establish this as an annual event, this is year one. Next year, you will get NDIT funding, but not this year. So adjudication is important, as Caitlin's outlined very succinctly and very well. It's an important aspect of developing the arts, performing arts especially, in this community. So I'm a huge support of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other questions? No? Yeah, I just, I guess I don't have any either. I want to thank you for coming in. You did mention CreekCon, so I did want to mention that. I had the honor to go there and to be there for part of the day and help do the judging, but it was pretty phenomenal to see in our community. So I just wanted to take this time to thank you for assisting and putting that on. And it was definitely a new thing to myself, but it was just great to see how many community members came out. It was like, well over a couple hundred just in the bit I was there. And I know I heard some numbers last week from Lindsay, but yeah, I just wanted to thank you for that. I've also been there a couple of times in the last few weeks for the homeschooling play that has went on too. So it was just a great facility for that and venue for both. So yeah. So did you want to touch a little bit on the CreekCon? Were you?
I was just going to shout out Emma Hawkins for all the work that she did on that. That was her brainchild from start to finish, and we had over 670 people through the door that day.
Yeah.
In one day.
Yeah, Emma and Rhett, right? Rhett was a big part of that too? Yeah.
Rhett was a huge support for that. He did some work experience with us and was just there all day. He took all the pictures for it. I think he changed his cosplay 4 times. And yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was new for me. I didn't know what I was getting into, but it was very enjoyable, and to see just residents of all ages there too, right? Like it was, everything from young kids to some seniors.
I didn't see any pictures of you there. What was your cosplay costume?
Well, I was there invited as the mayor, so I showed up.
Super mayor.
As the mayor, yeah. I did mention that if there was costumes that they were wanting me to wear, that I might not be part of picking them out, but if somebody had something, I might participate in it. So, yeah. Well, thank you for coming in. This will be dealt with later on and today under mayor's business, but yeah, appreciate you coming in, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. You got costume ideas for me for next year, Councillor McDonald? Or?
No.
No? Okay.
Not me. What's that?
All right.
Should have got a bald cap and went as Lextra.
And a Boston Bruins
jersey. Bruins jersey and a bald cap. Goes the mayor.
All right. I'm just going to vary the agenda to go to 3, 2026 strategic priority chart. Think there's any updates, any questions? Anybody? Council? Kevin, anything from you?
Your worship, just heads up, next meeting we'll be bringing our quarterly update, so we'll have an update for council at that point.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Next late item, so 4.1, we have late correspondence regarding temporary use permit, TUP 26-02, 420 116th Avenue tow yard. So I'll just need a motion to accept this late item. Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor Sudnick. We'll call this to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Just if there was any confusion on it, it actually got added to the agenda under 5.1. That's why it wasn't, we don't have physical copies of it here, but so we won't deal with it now. We'll deal with it under 5, new councillor business. So 5.1, we have late correspondence letter from Rosser Valley and Al Modishaw. RA Investments, April 23rd, 2026. Regarding the temporary use permit TUP 26-02420116 Avenue in tow yard. So my understanding, Mr. Modishaw wanted to just speak to this, so I would just need a motion from council allowing that. Councillor McDonald, second. Councillor Apollonio. And this, just so everybody knows, this is something that has to be unanimous decision. So
Al, what's in it for me?
I'll give you a cookie from over there.
Yeah.
Can I leave now?
All right, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. So welcome, Al. So you can just go to the delegation table there, and then you just have to push the button on the mic. And then I'll turn it on. You have 15 seconds, and after that you get ejected from the seat, so. No, just on the front there, and I was joking about your timing. Just on the base there, yeah. And then I will turn it on, so, yeah, so good morning, Al, thank you for submitting the letter. So at this time, you can speak to the letter and whether you're opposed or in favor of the motion. That's
Okay,
yeah,
thank
the
you,
permit.
Mr. Mayor and council and staff. Couple things before I talk about the, I didn't know I was going to speak, but I just wanted to come and watch the procedures. You notice I cleared everyone else out. There's no one left here, so that I'm not going to ask for a photo op.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can stay seated. And
thank you for letting them come up before you cleared them out. So
they were well looked after.
Yeah.
Yes. I can say in the 46 years I've been in Dawson Creek, I've never really opposed too much. I became a business owner in the early 2001, I think. And I've never had any problem with the city. But when this letter came, I had some concerns. So I was told that the vehicles that were going to be pulled onto the property would be moved every 95 days. I was told that the vehicles that were damaged and they were leaking would have containers under them. And so I thought, well, I still don't like the idea. I don't like the where it's situated, right across from the soccer fields and the baseball fields. Lots of kids there, lots of public there. And I thought, well, I can't just complain. I got to do some homework. So I drove out to the different industrial sites. And just by coincidence, I see the one site that had vehicles there. And I thought, well, there's nothing under all these damaged vehicles. Who's going to monitor? Who's going to pay for all the paperwork to move these vehicles every 95 days? I know it's a tedious thing to have to do. And then I thought, well, I'll take a few pictures. And then I happened to go along the one side, and all the land is plowed so that there's a ditch there along the fence line. And then I looked in the water of the fence line, and I could see sledge from, oh yeah, there it is there. Oh, you guys are way ahead of me.
they're pretty talented.
Thank you. So as you can notice by the pictures, it's made to drain off of the site, not contain it on the site. And then I looked down where I was standing from the ditch on the main road, and the next pictures will show that's oil products coming out of there. Oil goes brown when it's mixed with water. Gasoline goes sheeny. And so that's either some sort of oil product or diesel or transmission fluid, whatever. The next picture shows the gas type product, I think. There it is there. You can see the sheen in it. That's gasoline. So anyway, I just thought, well, that just convinced my conviction that I don't think it should be beside my business of property. Property of business, sorry. I was in real estate for 25 years. I know that if this type of product ends up on my property, I'm the one that's responsible for cleaning it up. It will cost tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars. I've had ones that have cost well over 100, and the property's only worth 100. So I don't want to lose my investment, and I think that because of all these concerns, that's why I wrote the letter along with Ross Ravelli, and we think that we're not against them having a place, but there was 6 or 7 spots in the airport empty. There's 5 or 6 spots in the Highway 49 industrial site empty. Lots of them have for lease signs up, for sale, for lease. So it's not that we don't have the property available. So that even made it more of my conviction not to want to have the temporary use permit. And I was glad that I heard that you guys can ask questions, because you guys ask some tough questions and I don't want to have to answer them. So thank you for hearing me, and thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Al. I appreciate you. I think it's important in these roles that we're here for our community. So anytime we have community members come forward, it's important for us to listen. So just want to thank you for taking the time to write the letter, but also for coming in and be willing to speak. And it's too bad we couldn't ask questions, and I know you're nervous about that because I've been waiting a long time to ask you a question. No, I'm just kidding. But no, we do appreciate you coming in, Al, and taking the time, and expressing your concerns. So.
But it has to be a decent question, Darcy.
Oh yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Of course it would be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for speaking up.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
So I guess.
Staff Sergeant's here.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I am. What's that, sorry?
We'll deal with this later.
Yeah, we'll deal with this after we deal with Staff Sergeant. I'm actually just going to take a 2-minute break and then come right back in. Council meeting for Monday, April 27th, 2026, back to order. Next order of business 2.7, we have Staff Sergeant Hughes with Dawson Creek RCMP in attendance regarding the detachment resource report for February and March 2026. So, morning, Staff Sergeant, and welcome.
Good morning, Your Worship. Thank you for having me. We do have 2 months worth of reports here. Everything is captured in the March, so I won't go. There's a few comments that I'll make about February, but we'll just jump right into the March report. As always, we start with detachment resources. We're in pretty good shape right now for the month, or were for the month of March, and still are now. We had 2 members off light duties. 2 members on light duties, and they are working 40 hours per week, but they're not operational. So just various injuries that they have. We have 2 members that are off duty. We don't know when they're returning for various reasons. We have 3 constable positions that have hard vacancies. I don't know if I've explained this before. A hard vacancy is a vacancy that is doesn't have anybody in that position number. It's gone, it's vacant. We're waiting for staffing to refill it, whether that be a lateral position from within the province or across the country, or a new member at a depot. Typically, those are new members at a depot for Dawson Creek. And we have 1 GIS, the General Investigation Service, with a soft vacancy in it. So we're not doing too bad right now. We have just had another member here go off. We just don't know exactly what the situation is. So those numbers will increase for the next month by 1. And as far as I know right now, we don't have anybody coming from depot. Reporting period for 2026, total of, to the end of March 2026, total of 2,113 files, which is up 8%. And all of those numbers in there, rather than just reading the numbers, We still sit at about the 20-80 split for rural resources and rural file load compared to city resources and city file load. There's a lot of red, unfortunately, on this report, so I'll go through these. We started the last few reports having numbers show back to 2023, just to give that bigger picture of how we are in cyclical crime trends rather than just for last year. You'll see here in a little bit down the list in break and enters where that comes into play. So our theft of vehicles, we have 27 for the year. We're up 42%. In February, we were up 57%. So we have a lot of our property crime stuff that spiked in January and February, and then now is trending back down in the direction that we want it. So hopefully those numbers continue to fall throughout the year and get us back into the average. But you can see in 2023, there was 17 at this point in the year. And then 2024, we were up to 33. And then our property crime in 2025 across the board was quite low, which is one of the reasons why I started going back to 2023 to show the cycle. So we're back up to 27. But again, in February, we were at a 57% increase and year to date. And now we're at a 42, so trending in the right direction. Our theft from vehicle has spiked. We're encouraging people. The last thing I want to do is any sort of victim blaming. That's not what we're doing. We don't. You should be able to leave your vehicle unlocked. You should be able to walk away from your vehicle and leave it running. Unfortunately, that's not the times that we live in, so we're encouraging people to lock stuff up. There's opportunistic thieves around that will walk through a parking lot, and if there's 10 vehicles that are unlocked, they will find 8 of them. Typically 4 of those people will come back to the vehicle and something will be gone. 2 of those people will call us and report it. So this goes, theft from vehicles goes largely in part unreported, so this number is likely higher than this. And has been for the last 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. All of that to say, in February we're 170% up, and now we're down to 112% increase. So again, trending in the right direction. But please, for anybody watching or listening, any of your friends and compatriots, we want to lock our vehicles the best that we can. It doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter where. If you're just going into Tim Hortons or if you're going into McDonald's or popping into City Hall or the police station. I was just talking with Sergeant Peddle the other day, and while it doesn't happen often, there was a bicycle stolen from the back door of the police station a few years ago. I don't know. Thank you, sir. What do you do other than laugh, right? Thank you for the comic relief of that. I do appreciate it. Lock your stuff up, please. Leaving bicycles in your yard, throw them in the shed, lock the door, that type of thing. Break and entered residence. Again, is up to 140%. It was up 157% in February. So again, trending in the right direction, but not where we want it to be. Break and enter to businesses up. It shows 1,100%. It was 800% in February. But again, this is the big one why we started doing, showing the historic cycle. 2023 was 25 for the month. 2024 was 19, and then in 2025, when we had pretty much an all-time low for our property crime across the board, was down to 1, and that's year to date. That's January, February, and March. We had 1 business B&E, and now to year to date, I want to say 12. I don't want to say only 12, but it kind of is only 12. Unfortunately, these types of crimes happen. We can't be 24/7, 365 security for every business in town. We'd like to be. Our proactive patrols, our citizens on patrols, our rural crime watch people, our citizens take action group that are out making those patrols and being our eyes and ears help a ton. So thank you to all of those volunteers and members of our community, and just the general public that aren't part of any kind of formal group that are calling suspicious activity in. That comes into play down at the bottom with unspecified assistances. Just continuing to call those things in. So again, we are trending in the right direction with these 2025. I wish every year could have one B&E over 3 months to businesses that we'd love to have that, but we're not there. Our sexual offenses combined, our assaults combined, sexual offenses is next. We are up 72%. We were up 116 in February, 69 for the month. A lot of these are, this is everything from like arguments with any sort of physical act whatsoever, kids in a school ground, teenagers, brothers, sisters, parents and children, when they come in as an assault file. I don't have an explanation of why this is so high right now. A lot of the higher end violent stuff is, almost all of it is known. It's people known to each other. Again, it's not the random attacks like you have in some of the big U.S. cities. We just don't, we don't have that here in Dawson Creek. Our sexual offenses combined, we had 11 in March. So I started looking into this. So we have one person in custody. There's no current risk to the public that accounts for a couple of the files. A couple of files are youth to youth, which is a unique situation, but still gets reported under this. A couple of the files two of them are uncooperative victims, where the victims are reporting these to, in one of these cases was EHS, and one of the cases was the hospital. So they get reported to the hospital, then the hospital or EHS reports it to us. We go on these two, and there's no cooperation from the victim. The victim doesn't want any action. They don't want to make a report. They don't want to provide a statement. Those still get scored as a sexual offense. And then we have a few people, unfortunately, in the unfortunate situation where we have repeat calls for service for the Mental Health Act for these people, and they make the same sort of claim quite often. Those files have to get investigated every single time. We do not say and will not say ever that, you've made this complaint before, we're not taking this file. The complaints get taken and they get investigated, and until they're confirmed, verified, or disproven, they are a reported sexual offense. So we've had quite a few of those in the month of March, 11 total. I don't have the exact count of files under that situation, but that's what can drive that stat up drastically. And then, unfortunately, as the way that we do our stats, these are month to month reports of. So even like every one of these types of offense codes it's the report of. It's not a substantiated or not. Like a theft of vehicle. If somebody calls in, unfortunately, if they call in their vehicle stolen, and then they forgot where they parked it, but they do this. This happens every now and again. So you'll get, like, say the end of March, on the 29th of March, somebody phones in and says, my vehicle's been stolen. And it's not found until the next month. So that wasn't cleared in March and still shows as a stolen vehicle. And then we find it in a parking lot. Oddly enough, that happened quite a bit around Christmas, where vehicles were parked after Christmas parties and forgot where they were left. So things like that happen. Our drug possession, drug trafficking is decreased. We did have a period of time, and we still have our GIS section. They're the ones that are mostly driving these search warrants and stuff. And hopefully we're sending the message to the people that are out there doing this type of thing. This is down to 7 for the year. In 2023, we had 3. 2024, we had 2. 2025 was we had a new, Casey Charles was our new corporal that came into GIS and did a huge, big push. So the numbers in 2025 are quite high. And this is, when I presented this to our numbers to the regional district, I think 2 months ago, this was one of those things where we kind of want to see this high. We know that it happens. It's not that we, are hoping that this happens, the offense happens, but we know that the offense does happen. So the more that we target it, the harder that we push on it, the more warrants, the more warrant executions, the more arrests, the more charges. The message gets sent to that demographic that are preying on our vulnerable people in our communities and supplying these drugs. So the more that we can push charges in this area, the better. But nobody should be naive to think that it's not happening. So we want to target that as hard as we can. Our impaired driving, 24, that's all like 24-hour suspensions. We call them Motor Vehicle Act 215s. Those are the roadside ones. Immediate roadside prohibition is an IRP, and an ADP is criminal, which is an administrative driving prohibition. So all of those combined, year to date, is down to 15. And like we've said before, as the number of charges in impaired goes up, the number of crashes usually goes down. So our number of impaired charges has gone down, and our number of collisions has coincidentally gone up. So some efforts are in place to get some more traffic enforcement out. BC Highway Patrol has a couple of vacancies here. There's supposed to be 4 positions. They don't report to me, but they are in the building, and there's two of the 4 are vacant. Our theft and shoplifting is an increase of 3%, so we're getting that to go in the right direction. I think that was higher in February. Yeah, it was 16 in February, so it's down to a 3% increase of 100 events. Again, this is everything. If somebody calls in a shoplifting file, whether or not the store or the individual wants to proceed with charges or cooperate with charges, and a lot of the times we get that corporations don't want to support their employees to be away and go to court. So it's a situation, late reports, something was stolen from the store 2 days ago, so we're going to report that one while we're reporting this one. It makes it hard for us to deal with. Mental health files is a decrease of 34%, 157 to date. Last year we had 237, and the years before that were 124 and 129. So our unspecified assistance files, a decrease of 7%, which isn't a huge difference, and you can see over the 4 years it sits pretty consistent. And our files involving members of our unhoused community is at 5% decrease, so 37 year to date compared to 39 last year. And last year was the first year that we started tracking that. So I did think, just bear with me here for 1 second, my apologies. I was asked, I thought it was Councillor Parslow had asked for, or maybe it was you, Your Worship, for stats involving our online crime reporting. So I don't have the stats here, unless they're in here somewhere that I don't see. The numbers are still pretty low. So I'd like to just get in touch with your communications people and put something out there and kind of a refresher of how that works and the parameters for online reporting. The basics are there's a certain type of crime types that are allowed, and it goes through what those are. General public, you can Google online crime reporting Dawson Creek and it'll take you to it. But generally there's some violent crimes or crimes against persons are generally not allowed in there. And if you need a police response, if you need to talk to a police officer, then no. If you're just looking for a file number to report something, a lot of people, that helps them, that works for them. So the online crime reporting tool is very useful for that. So if we can do something like that, probably be a big help. And again, as always, our property crime and mental health related issues are the majority of the calls for service, and continue to take the majority of the amount of time for our members. Mental health files from a police point of view is almost always at least a 2-member response. And the amount of time that we spend at the hospital once waiting for somebody to get certified, just under the rules and regulations of the legislation behind the BC Mental Health Act, sometimes we can be sitting at the hospital. We have a member or two sitting there for 5, 6, 7 hours sometimes. That's not the norm. Normal is on a 2 to 4. But again, that's a member, a uniformed police officer that's off the road, waiting for services at the hospital. And we know that they are overloaded. We know that they're short-staffed. They're having the same problem trying to attract people into their profession as we are. So, Dawson Creek Citizens on Patrol. So the Citizen Patrol is the Citizen Patrol South Peace Crime Prevention Society group. A big, huge thank you to them again for all the work that they do. They just had their AGM and a crime reduction symposium that they held on Friday. So big thanks to Sergeant Peddle and the dog handlers that came down from Fort St. John. At last moment, we had a cancellation due to an unforeseeable event with our dog handler here. So big, huge thank you to the two members. One came down, I believe he was in an air cast when he came down. So thank you to him. Our drone pilot, Brody Nesgen, put on a wonderful presentation, I understand. Sergeant Antonioni was here from Chetwynd, and Sergeant Peddle attended from our detachment here. I had a training issue that I had to deal with. So my apologies for not being able to attend, but I understand from Councillor McDonald that it went off very well. I know that all of the people, John Better in particular, that put a lot of time and effort into that. So we're very happy to be able to be part of that as Dawson Creek RCMP. Moving on, the final thing I have here is our violence suppression efforts. So we still continue with our violence suppression team overtime initiative that seems to have great effects. But I'd like to take the opportunity to put out a huge thanks to North District Regional General Investigation Section and our North District and our E Division major crime units. Dawson Creek does not. We have a full strength. We have a corporal and 3 constables in our GIS section. We do not have the capacity to manage these huge files, the homicide files, the high-profile missing person files, the serious violent offenses. And those units come in and do a fantastic job, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours investigating, following up, securing charges. Most of our violent offenders are in jail right now, and you can tell by going for a drive or walking around town. The feedback that I've got from the general public, Dawson Creek feels a little bit different over the last few months. I notice it. Maybe it's because I'm the staff sergeant in charge of the detachment, but I can feel a difference, and I really huge appreciation to the people that have, approached our officers and said thank you, and just seeing that difference and expressing that goes a long ways. And having those people in jail, just the amount of work, I don't have enough words to say thank you to those units, because they make Dawson Creek look fantastic. We kind of get some of the credit, or a lot of the credit as a detachment. People like, hey, great work that you guys are doing. But I just want to make sure that the kudos are going to the people that deserve it. We are the people that are first response to these events. We do a lot of the follow-ups for these units. We work in what is the epitome of partnership. They're not doing it 100% on their own, and we're not sitting back and letting them do it 100% on their own. So it is one of those surge capacity benefits of being RCMP instead of a municipal police force. We have that all those units across the province and across the country to help us out. So the work that's been done over the last few months or few years makes me very proud to be a member of the RCMP and here in Dawson Creek. So that's all I have today, Your Worship. Thank you. Hopefully there's some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Staff Sergeant. I will open it up for some questions here. So, Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I have a couple of comments. You made reference to the event on Friday, Citizens on Patrol. South Peace, it was well represented, but it was a very well organized, put together day event. And I was privileged. I love Sergeant Peddle, he's a great guy. But I tell you, I heard one of the most, how can I describe it? Wonderful presentation by the sergeant from Chetwynd, Wanis. I wish it was in print form, because I think that that presentation captured, with all the illustrations that she put into that presentation, the heart of community policing. And, my sense of the philosophy that she presented should be presented in a more widespread way. I would commend you get a copy of it. I'm sure it's at your heart as well, Robert. I don't doubt it. But the way she put it together was incredible. And the way she delivered it was equally incredible. I think you're right about the tone in the community. I think it is somewhat different. And it's not because we got warmer weather. I think it's one of those intangible things, right? And but it's good. I mean, the groundwork's done locally. You bring in these excellent units from outside, but it's teamwork all the way through, right? It's your leadership, the teamwork of your crew, if I can call them that, your detachment members, and the relationships you have with other things. It makes for a powerful presence. I just want to make a comment about your statistics, if I may, and I'm trying to be helpful. And I've sat in this chair, I've been moved around by the, whims of the mayor for different seats, you know what I mean? But I've been sat on this side for about 15 years now. And, looking at some of these statistics, now it may be important to the RCMP to look at previous year comparisons. But in the introduction of all these statistics is the word trends. And the analysis is done with just the previous year in mind. So whilst you were going through some of those, I was doing some recalculations if it was presented in a slightly different way. Because trends, to have greater value, should span a broader number of years, not just the immediate year preceding. So you take your break-in entry one, where you show an 800% increase. When I calculated that using the average of the 3 previous years, you in fact have a 22% decrease. Now, I'm not trying to make work for you, I'm just trying to point out that, yes, it may be important, and that's up to you entirely to make that decision, right, about comparison one year to the previous year. That's fine. But when you look at it over 3 years, it gives you quite a different picture. And I'm just wondering, is this format something you have choice over in presenting? Because if it is, I would commend, yes, do whatever is important and it gives you information. But I think it's also good to compare this year to date with maybe the previous 3 or 5 years, and you'll get very different results. And there you do have a trend over a broader period of time. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow.
So thank you, through your worship. A few things there. Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Sergeant Antonioni does have that in written copy, so I will get that from her. I haven't seen it. I haven't read it. I did talk to Sergeant Peddle this morning, and he did note this morning how hard it is to go second. When
Sergeant Peddle's just fine.
When we as police commanders, and whether you're in command of a detachment or second in command of a detachment, or a constable in in Surrey where there's 800 members, we all hopefully have the same sort of sentiment and the same sort of drive. What makes us go? So to have someone as well spoken and well presented as Sergeant Antonioni lead, and then trying to follow that sometimes is a little bit difficult. So I will pass on your sentiments to her, and thank you for that. As far as stats are concerned, so we have, I have control over this. Like this report has been generated over the years by different detachment commanders in consultation with council, and kind of what do you want, and let's not try and get too many numbers. I know that there's different levels of value depending on who's listening, of just reading off numbers, and I know that's been brought up before. Fortunately or unfortunately, whichever side of the coin you're on, the numbers are the numbers, and so I have to kind of go through them. What I don't want to have happen is if I said we have a 23% increase on average over the last 4 years, anyone looking at the numbers can say, yeah, but there's an 1,100% increase over last year. So I would rather present, we have an 1,100% increase over last year, and in February it was 800, so we are trending in the right direction, moving on into the year, and you can take these numbers and you could go the average from last year, you could go 2 years, you could go 3 years. If council wanted me to put 5 or 6 years in here, I can do that, and we can put graphs and all kinds of neat things in here. As your admin staff is fully aware, this is quite a challenge for me to get these in on the diary dates as it stands. So I do the best with the time that I have. So that's why there's no graphs, and I don't want to overcomplicate it. But the long and short of it is I can present the numbers however council wants. I myself see a higher value in our immediate rise or our immediate fall, and presenting these numbers, that's why I went back to 23, so any reader can look at this and make that conclusion on their own fairly quickly. You could make it with a calculator take a little bit longer and use a calculator. So if council would like the numbers in an average trend, I can do that. I prefer to do it the way that it's been done, but we can speak about that offline, your worship. And I think that covers all of the points.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor McDonald.
Well, thank you, worship. I was going to comment on the numbers themselves. Having the past 3 years, I found very beneficial, honestly, because some of the numbers are shocking, but to be able to look back and say, oh yes, and I agree, do the work ourselves to say, but wait, 23, 24, 25, here's the true look at the trend, like Councillor Parslow said. So I did enjoy seeing them like that. I also like when you point out, in February it was this, and now we're this. So month over month, we're coming back down to a normal number as well, right? I enjoy that information. Just my 2 bits on that. My question was, are we still a priority detachment for staffing?
Thank you. Through your worship, I'll answer the easiest one first, which is not really the easiest one to answer because it's a hard answer. Is no. We're no longer a priority. So priorities they're month to month.
Okay.
I think we were a priority for 2 or 3 months. We got a few new members, and then those priorities jumped to other they're evaluated every month.
Okay.
So when we have detachments across the north here that are running 50%, 60%, I think there was one down in the 40s. Excuse me. So if we get into that situation where we need to be a priority, again, on a month-to-month basis, we will be identified as a priority and gone that route. So as it stands right now, we're not a priority.
Okay.
And we're looking pretty good for numbers.
Okay.
The thing with numbers, so the more we have a quite a small number of members here. So our full strength is 31 members. So at any given time, we are running between, I don't think we've been full since I've been here 3 years ago. We got close. I think we were 29 or 30 at one point, and we've been down into the mid-20s, excuse me. Something I'd like to point out is the amount of work that goes into putting these incredibly violent offenders into jail. That's just hours of police work, and there's only so many of those available. So it's reasonable to come to the conclusion that the more hours that go into those big, huge files, the less hours we have to spend on property crime. So you'll see, I don't think it's unreasonable to see those numbers start to climb a little bit when our efforts have been into putting murderers and stuff in jail. Not that it's an excuse, but it's a weights and balances.
It's a give and take.
It's a weights and
Absolutely.
balances that have to be managed. And then I've got a note here. I wrote the note down year to date. Just got to remember what.
I made the comment that you mentioned that even though we might be 110% this month, last month we were 150%, to knowing that, so the month over month we're trending down, right? Not just year over year, but we're coming down in the year to date, like you say. And that was just my comment on the report itself. I think you made a good reminder in there, you know, when it comes to property crime, when it comes from theft of vehicle, it is on ourselves as well to be diligent in the way we present our vehicles and we take care of our own property. We have to be diligent to protect ourselves as well. It doesn't just fall on the RCMP. And then as far as the symposium goes, all your members did a great job. That symposium went over so well. We are so very thankful for whether it's Sergeant Petal, Sergeant Winese, I forget the dog handler's name, but the insightful presentation he gave. Jerry Demian made the comment that he has seen 5 or 6 dog handlers give presentations, but that was by far the best and most insightful he has seen to date. That was how good the presentation was by the Fort St. John member. Your drone operator, just thank you so very much on behalf of our association for the amazing quality of speakers that you all presented. You made our day so amazing. And yeah, just thank you. Great job. Please forward it on to them.
Through your worship, just thank you. Just the year to date, the note that I had here is it's one of the downfalls of producing stats like this is that it's only year to date. So we get the best picture in December.
Yeah.
So that we get the worst picture in January.
Of course.
So we're only into the first quarter. The efforts that we have available to target different initiatives throughout the year, we don't get that whole year picture until December. So when I'm saying we go from 800, to 11 or 11 to 8, or whether it's 157 down to 110 or up or down, that picture gets to be a more clear picture the further on in the year we go. So unfortunately we don't get the benefit of future efforts or current efforts until they pay dividends down the road with this type of reporting. But there you go. Thank you so much.
Good.
Yep. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, Staff Sergeant. Good to see you. With respect to the stats, I think the current format's fine. We can draw the conclusions looking at the trend lines ourselves, and I mean, I appreciate they're probably, out in the world somewhere, some people are going to look at the dramatic increases and interpret those in the worst possible light, be they in the media, be they the comment section crusaders on Facebook, whatever. But and I know, you guys are doing what you can. So just one or two questions. So you noted that BC Highways has an allocation of 4 that are staffed out of the local office they're not counted among the 31 detachment members, or they are? No. So, and there's 2 vacancies there?
Correct.
Okay. That's for whatever reason I had it in my head, just because I know of our 31 allotment, 6 are paid for wholly by the province.
Correct.
And I was under the impression that the BC Highways were included in that. So that was my mistake. I just wanted a point of clarification. Secondly, you used the word cyclical at the beginning of your presentation to describe kind of the crime trends. And I mean, having been in this job for 8 years, I've seen some cycles at this point. And I know if you have an anomalously warm stretch in the winter, crimes of opportunity tend to go up as people who might be forced to be inside are now back out on the street carrying on, or any number of a couple key chronic offenders get let out on conditions, and certain types of crime just spike and stuff like that. But when you say cyclical, is that what you're referring to, or are there more just, as I guess you alluded to earlier, if you're spending X amount of time on explicitly violent crimes, other kind of crimes have a tendency to percolate upwards?
So thank you, through your worship. So when I speak cyclically, it's the year to year. There's the cycle of year to year, and then there's the cycle of month to month, and how that rolls and ebbs and flows. An example is there's a little town in the South Okanagan called Penticton that some people on the board may know quite well. And there was recently a news article where one of their offenders gets out of jail and their property crime spikes and goes crazy, and then that person goes back in jail. They didn't name the person, which is good. But that's the cycle of crime. They're seasonal. We know that typically in November, December, January, unless South Peace Crime Prevention and the Rural Crime Watch people are doing a push on don't leave your vehicle running, which worked very well in December, and then we saw that kind of fall off in January and February. There's that seasonal cycle of that type of offense. So there's a cyclical is a whole bunch of different cycles and ebbs and flows and waves of crime bashing into each other. So.
All right. Well, yeah, that was it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other questions? No? I didn't have much. I think everything was answered. I did actually last week I was down in Victoria and met with the Minister of Public Safety, Minister Krieger, so I was able to bring up a lot of things directly, but I did mention too while I was down there just about like the how great like all these special units in the North District have been and helped. So, and also that the province funds a lot of that, which is nice. So I did bring that up, but she did mention that they're aware of the property crime and smaller crimes, and they've just announced a $16 million investment into supporting that and to help kind of put it forward. I think it was the CPOI program, but it's something that's newer that's coming down. I have a hard time keeping up with all the acronyms that come my way in this department. But I just thought I would mention that. I can get you more details on it too once there is. But I didn't have much else. I just wanted to thank you. Thank you for being here today to present, but also thanking for what you do in our community. And I think it was mentioned a few times here today, just how there's a different feel in our community. And I see it firsthand too. Like it's just the detachment, your leadership, the whole team has just done a phenomenal job in our community, and it's appreciated here, but it's appreciated more so by our community, and that's really what matters. So so thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Worship. Just in closing, I would just like to thank everyone for the suggestions. That come from you all that make minor changes to how things are presented. And trying to make the reporting structure and these presentations as valuable as I can. So just thank you to everyone who's given some requests over the last couple of years to change this into what it is. And I do appreciate the requests and the feedback. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. That works both ways. So thank you.
Thanks.
Perfect. Enjoy your day.
Till next time. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got one question.
Oh, you guys.
Your fault. You triggered my memory.
Councilor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Staff Sergeant. During our symposium on Friday and the ICBC presentation, the point of bait cars came up again. Can you please refresh my memory on our usage of the bait car program, our ability to use it, and if we've used it in the past? Because I could not remember to answer the question directly, and I would just like to be able to do it honestly.
Thank you, through Your Worship. So the bait car is run by an integrated model called they're called Impact, which is, I believe, the integrated municipal provincial auto crime team. I got that right. Thanks. So I should get that right because I was
acronym guy.
well, I was the bait car liaison and the bait car trainer for 6 years during my first 10 years of service in Richmond. So I'm a big proponent of the bait car program. We have used the bait car program here in the past and likely will be using it again in the future. Whether or not that program is currently being used is not something that we publicly divulge. There is the BayCar program is available. It's integrated. Again, the Impact integrated municipal and provincial, so that it is a resource that's available to us all. The months and months that it's been that we have used it here, I don't know if there was any successful deployments. I think sometimes when it's broadcast that there's bait cars here, our auto crime goes down. It's a deterrent. So sure, there's bait cars here. It is available to us. It is quite a huge expense to get because it's all managed out of the Lower Mainland. So we have to get those vehicles up and maintain them and get them back. So.
Yeah, the question was more just, have we ever used it in the community and should we be using it in the community? So that answers that.
So the short answer is yes and yes.
Perfect.
Thank you
so very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Parslow?
Yes, again, something you said, but I don't know why it triggered this. I haven't seen the detachment's long-term planning documents for... You have an annual planning document, don't you? And what community involvement has there been in its presentation, and when will we have a chance to review it?
So thank you, through your worship. So the annual performance is called an APP, the annual performance plan. Sergeant Peddle is the owner of that program this year, and that is done. It's not done in an open forum consultation. It's done with the mayor and the CIO. So once that's in place, or if you have feedback or requests, that should probably go through the mayor, and then that will be relayed back to us. And we can adjust the APP. We can add to it at any given time. I don't have last year's with me. I can bring it next month if you wish, and this next year. So they, as you know, are fiscal year. So it's April 1st and forward, and so April 1st to March 31st. We are into April 27th now, but we have the first quarter to get that completed. So we still have 2 months and a couple of days to get that all signed off and community consultation. The community consultation piece is with our partners, whether that be City of Dawson Creek or the Village of CUPE.
Okay, there have been some open meetings in the past with I've attended at Mercer Hall. So our CAO and mayor are really great at sharing things. We haven't had any engagement as a council, have we, with you?
Not on...
Just throwing that out because I used to read those things in the past. And there was some roundtable discussion, so I don't know what's happened, and usually we're all involved, but I haven't been involved in it for a few years.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Councillor Parslow.
Well, you're good at sharing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So why are you keeping it to yourself?
Yeah.
Sorry, through your worship, I'm not sure if that was a question for me or you. Or you.
I don't know.
I'm just going to let it. I'll let you deal with that, your worship, and we'll.
Absolutely.
Domestic down there.
Yeah.
So if you 911 if you need me back.
Okay, perfect.
Other than that,
I appreciate
thank
that.
you all.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, Staff Sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day. All right, I'm going to vary the agenda actually and move to 9.3. So report number 26-075 from the Director of Development Services regarding the temporary use permit TUP 26-02 420 116th Avenue tow yard. So Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. Can we receive this for discussion before we put a motion on the floor?
Yeah. Second, Councillor Kemp. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Councillor Earl, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just based on the letter and presentation we've got from Al and some of the pictures around what appeared to be fluid that had some stuff in it, I understand that wasn't a picture of the property in question for the temporary use permit, but it did raise some questions about how we monitor and how we enforce this, and while we might make assurances to adjacent property owners in our public outreach piece, if they rightfully, if it's not being monitored and enforced on another property that is similarly used, what assurance do they have that we can provide a level of service that's going to protect the private? And obviously, this is several years into my fixation on brownfields and how we end up with these friggin' things. So above and beyond just, the property owner's concerns, my own interest being that how are we going to ensure that if we were to allow for this temporary use permit, how would we make sure that we're not back here in a few years begging forgiveness?
Yeah. So through your worship, you're correct. It's not, the pictures were not of the subject property for the TUP, but rather the existing property of where the current tow yard is situated out on Vic Turner. The TUP does provide mechanisms for council to place requirements, but you were correct. Those requirements then have to be monitored and maintained or enforced, and most of that would occur through a complaint-based process. And obviously you'd be putting those restrictions on as conditions of the permit, so there would be some onus on the business to follow through. But as you know, ultimately, if and when that doesn't occur, we're going to have to be left with trying to enforce that. And so that can always be a challenge, for sure.
So what is, I mean, as you noted, bylaw enforcement is complaint-based. What capacity do we have to put proactive conditions on a temporary use permit? Like report, and number one, were we to do that, then we're now creating a staff obligation on the other end to review, either way, whether we're doing it complaint-based or proactively, there is a commitment of staff time to ensure compliance. And I guess my concern is, if you want to know what someone's going to do, look at what they've done, and based on those pictures, that hasn't been the case.
Yeah, and so the first thing we have to do now that we have the pictures, we'll have to follow up and determine what the appropriate steps are, and if we have to engage any, ministries on the environmental side, because again, that may be out of our scope. The alternative is that they may find an appropriately zoned property, and we won't have any say in it, and we'll be back to a complaint-based program that if anything ever happens on a different property, then we would be brought in at a later date and be in a similar situation. The TUP allows us to provide, like I said, those conditions, but again, we have to ensure they enforce them, whether there's containment or whatever. So,
And the subject property currently is like an auto shop correctly, is currently being used for?
The where they would like to
Proposal?
relocate
Yeah.
to, it's vacant.
Okay, it's vacant, so there's no, okay. Okay.
So it's adjacent to some buildings, but
As of right now, there's no, so this
no.
is,
And I suspect the intent is just for a yard to
yeah, no,
vehicles.
okay. I'll turn the floor over to my colleagues if they have any questions before we get a motion on the floor.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow?
Well, yes, I would, my fellow citizen Al's made a presentation. What is staff's reaction to that presentation?
So through your worship, again, like I said, I mean, we have to go out onto site and we'll have to see if there's some issues and then engage. Is that what you're asking?
Well, he raised a number of points, right? The points that, let's take first of all, contamination. How can we make sure that there is no contamination, or can't we? Is the interest of the person who's Al, who made this presentation, one of his key concerns is contamination. Can we guarantee that there will be no contamination there? We can't.
No, absolutely
So,
not.
so the point made, another point made, is there are industrial parks and locations available that they should be explored. Why? So, what's your reaction to that component of his presentation?
Yeah, through your worship, we cannot guarantee that there's no contamination. I could guarantee that if you went down into those areas that are zoned industrial, that the majority of those properties, if not all of them, you would be able to find some level of contaminants. I mean, by nature of the work that they do. They are gravel or soil surfaces. They store equipment, whether or vehicles or materials. That's the nature of that business. I hate to say that it's an inherent risk that comes with it, but it is with industrial properties. And so from our perspective, there are more things we can do nowadays to try and mitigate that. But often when we do, we are characterized as putting up barriers and obstacles for developers.
Barriers to free enterprise, yeah.
So, there's challenges both ways.
So it seems logical to me if there's pre-existing contamination on these other lots that we should direct the people who need to have this lot to those properties. And minimize the spread of contaminated lots in our community.
Well, and through your worship, I can't guarantee that the lot that they're looking at, I'm not familiar off the top what the previous use was.
Yeah.
Who's to say that it's clean?
Yeah.
I can't say either way.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I have to agree with Councillor Parslow, though. We have lots zoned industrial in separate areas of the community for those purposes, not directly adjacent to sports fields and parks where we will have children, etc. I think keeping the industrial M2 zoning sites where they're at, they're in appropriate positions. I don't support bringing one right there across from ball diamonds and soccer fields, and including our exhibition grounds where we see all the animals as well. I think we have proper zoning in proper places, right? And I think they should be utilized in the positions they are. not create another one directly across from parks and sports fields.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. I guess I just have a question, Kevin. What, like M1 light industrial, what would that include? Like, is that just kind of like light industrial shops kind of with?
Yeah, so through your worship, if you don't mind, I could put Bill on the spot. I'm sure he could pull up the M1 zoning or Tab might even be able to pull it up on the screen, which would list the permitted uses of an M1. I mean, it's light industrial kind of service.
Yeah, okay.
Service industrial, so, I think that's where you're looking at more of the service shops, that sort of stuff. So you look down the road to what Longhorn is doing and something along those lines.
And then in the industrial areas like that are zoned, that those would be M2 and this would be an allowable business in those?
Yeah, I believe out at the airport, is it M2, Bill?
Correct.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, through your worship. M2 at the airport in the Collins subdivision. M2 zoning across from the fairgrounds from 2nd Street up till 4th Street, and then we gradually go to M1 lighter industrial zoning.
I'm assuming, sorry,
Street,
not to interrupt, Bill, but if that was the case, there was probably a reason why that was done. Because if it's in that corner where it's away from.
Yeah, through your worship, I would assume that that's a transitioning towards, as you move towards 8th Street, you're transitioning away from heavier to lighter uses.
Okay, thank you.
To commercial, yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you, Bill, there. I don't know if you had more. All right, any other questions while this is discussion? No? Anybody like to put a recommendation forward? Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Worship. I'll move that we deny the temporary use permit TUP 26-02 for 116th Avenue for use as a tow yard. Yeah, I guess alternative 2. Sorry, I'm not there on my thing. But I will read it. Okay. Move that report number 26-075 temporary use permit TUP 26-02 420 116th Ave tow yard be received for the temporary use permit TUP 26-02 420 116th Avenue tow yard be denied.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Second, Councillor Kemp. Discussion.
And I guess just to kind of summarize my thoughts on some of the discussion that's happened here. Certainly, I'm not going to say there's no circumstances under which a temporary use permit for something like this might be appropriate, but given the presentation by the proponent or the adjacent property owner suggesting that there are currently challenges with enforcing existing permit uses and monitoring that, I think, and how chronic a problem brownfields are in our community. And looking back, this is one of those legacy challenges where people made a decision 30 years ago, and now we've got cavities all throughout our community in the downtown core that can't be developed because they require significant environmental remediation. Now, the property as it exists may already have some environmental stuff, but I think given what a massive issue this is, at a certain point we do have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, well, we're not going to make it worse. And yeah, there might be some people who say this means we're not open for business, but I'd also say that privatizing the upside and then socializing the downside 30 years later when the cleanup has to happen isn't ultimately in the interest of the community. We do zone for heavy industrial. We have areas that are more appropriate for this use. And while you never want to say no if you can help it, I would encourage the proponent of this to explore those areas and hope you can find something that's a better fit.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Other discussion? I agree with what Councillor Earl said, and I do want to just take the time, Kevin, just to thank you and Bill and the team for, I think it's There is sometimes those comments that we're not open for business, and I don't agree with that. I think this department, Bill, has went above and beyond in multiple scenarios over the last 4 years to accommodate and show that we are open for business. And I even look at this, like you did here as well, like you looked at different alternatives and way of putting screening up to hide it and different things. And yeah, so I just want to thank you for your time. I know and I see firsthand what you guys do to change that narrative and be open for business and work with those. So yeah, so I appreciate the effort. I just wanted to recognize that because I seen it even in here too, and you know, in light of some new information that we got today. So yeah, I just didn't want that to go unheard. It is appreciative of what you guys do. So thank you. You're welcome. All right, any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Nothing's coming up. No. Oh, it did, and now it's gone. That I'm just not quick enough for you testing my speed. There's nothing there. Would you like me to do a manual? Yeah, okay. Everybody's understanding what we're voting on? Yeah. We're denying, so okay. All in favor? It's carried. Everyone was in favor.
In favor of being against.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we will break for challenge here at lunch. Okay. 2026 back to order. Next order of business was we haven't finished up a new councillor business 5. So any new councillor business? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I had the pleasure of attending the Mental Health and Addiction Accord signatories meeting by Zoom last week. And during that meeting, we were informed Dawson Creek's resolution going to NCLGA, R12, the improved access to publicly funded mental health services, has now reached 17 co-sponsors. That is 17 out of 41 members in NCLGA. We've been co-sponsored by the Caribou Regional District, the City of Prince George, the District of Fort St. James, District of Hudson Hope, District of Kitimat, District of Mackenzie, District of Tumbler Ridge, District of Vanderhoof, Regional District of Bulkley-Nechako, Regional District of Kitimat-Stikine, North Coast Regional District, the Town of Smithers, Village of Burns Lake, Village of Grand Isle, Village of Pouce-Coupe, Village of Valemont, and most recently, the PRRD has become a co-sponsor as well. I think this is just a testament to how, very important this resolution is in moving forward. And this is the first time I've seen any resolution, whether it be a UBCM, NCLGA, or otherwise, garnish so much support even before hitting the floor. So congratulations to you all. I was not here the day we made the motion to do the resolution, but phenomenal. It's gaining huge support, and it's just wonderful. I wanted to let you all know what a great thing it is.
Perfect. Thank you for that and sharing.
Yeah.
Any other new councillor business? No? Councillor Parslow, is he walking back?
Well, I don't see.
No? All right.
Yeah, there he is.
Just going to wait 2 seconds for one of our councillors to come back just to make sure.
He walks like he eats cookies.
Yeah. Do you have something for new councillor business?
Okay, all right. Next order of business was 6, adoption of minutes, 6.1 minutes of the regular meeting of council held on April 13th, 2026 for adoption. Councillor McDonald, second Councillor Apollonio. Call that to vote. All right, it's up to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Any business arising? No? All right. Correspondence, we got 8.1 letter from the Community Rail Advocacy Alliance, CRAA Executive, received on March 31st, 2026 regarding rail equity and accessibility in Canada's North. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that we as the City of Dawson Creek become members of the Community Rail Advocacy Alliance.
Thank you. I have a second. Councillor Kemp, discussion.
This is a growing issue in the Northeast and the North period where we're seeing rails being shut in, et cetera, the access to rails becoming more and more difficult. And I think just ensuring that we are having good open dialogue with CN and with our regional partners is extremely important, especially to any kind of growing business, industrial, et cetera, in our area, whether it's agriculture, forestry, oil and gas, whatever. We need the rail, and we need to be a part of this group.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. I'll just touch on one thing before I go to you, Councillor Rowe. Councillor McDonald, Councillor Sudnick, and myself also attended this when we were at the Growing the North conference, and it's well represented in Alberta. The Peace River Regional District is also on this as well now, with also a member sitting on the executive as well. So just thought I would mention that. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to inquire what, if any, costs are associated with membership.
I think it's in there. It's $2,000 annual. It's in the, yeah.
Did I? Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah, there we go. Thank you. And yeah, no, I just perused their website to see the various membership organizations. It looks like it's very well represented in northwestern Alberta and northeastern BC in particular, probably as a function of government neglect with respect to those transportation corridors over time. So yeah, fine with that.
Okay.
Just curious, what, where in the budget's this coming out of? Administrative memberships?
So through your worship, yes, exactly. We were just looking at probably admin memberships.
Okay. And I assume that's not the kind of budget we have a tremendous amount of pork in. So is that something that we're going to have to
Yeah,
add in
so
for
through your
next?
worship, yeah, I think our whole budget is about $4,500, but
where are, for things like Chambers of Commerce, UBCM, FCM, those membership organizations, would that not be comparable? Or is this because this is more
council memberships?
Okay.
So there's a few different.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all
work.
coming out of the same pot. I just want to know we're finalizing the budget. And while $2,000 is a huge amount of money in the context of the budget, with respect to that particular envelope, it might throw some things off.
Yeah, I think overall we'll be fine within that envelope. We still have room within that membership budget. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. And it's carried. All right, I'm just going to vary the agenda and go to 16, recess to close meeting. 16.1, resolution to move into the meeting of council closed to the public for agenda. Actually, sorry, I'll just be 1 second here. 2.1. Sorry. But it doesn't have like the breakout of what I'm reading, just 2.1? Okay. Oh, sorry. Recess, resolution to move into the meeting of council closed to the public for agenda item 2.1, section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations, and section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that in the view of council could reasonably be expected to harm the interest of the municipality if they were held in public. Councillor Kemp, second. Councillor Apollonio, call that to vote. One more to vote. Councillor Parson. Vote is closed. It's carried. April 27th, 2026, back to order. Next order of business is 8.2. We have a letter from grant writers, City of Dawson Creek, received on April 27th, 2026 regarding resolution of support NDIT Community Places Grant Application, Elwood Park Playground Revitalization Project. Councillor Earl?
Thank you. Thank you, Worship. I'll move the resolution requested as follows, that the City of Dawson Creek supports the grant application for the Northern Development Initiative Trust Community Places Program for funding of up to $30,000 to complete the Elwood Park Playground Revitalization Project. Further, that the City of Dawson Creek commits to contributing any required funds not covered by the grant through the 2026 capital budget.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Second, Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? We'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 8.3, we have a letter from the grant writer, City Dawson Creek, received on April 27th, 2026, regarding a request for resolution of support for NDIT Community Places Grant Application, Hillcrest Park and 99 Avenue Park Playground Revitalization Project. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the requested resolution that Dawson Creek City Council supports the grant application to the Northern Development Initiative Trust Community Places Program for funding of up to $30,000 to assist in completing the Hillcrest Park and 99 Avenue Park Playground Revitalization Project. Further, that the City of Dawson Creek commits to contributing any required funds not covered by the grant through the 2026 capital budget.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Discussion? No discussion?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you.
That means
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Councillor Parslow.
This is information from staff. So we have two grant applications to the same grant. Are these being rolled into one? Because I do know that for some grants, the ones that I have applied for organizations, you can only have one grant going, and it's only every 2 years. Some you can have them every year. So you're telling me that we can apply for a number of different separate applications for the same source of funding?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, that is my understanding, based on the information that I've read and seen and such, is that we can apply for multiple projects within that grant stream. I can't remember the
portfolio.
Portfolio, right? With that, yeah. Whereas the one that I think is called recreational spaces, like where you can get up to $300,000, that's every, you can apply, but it's every 2 years, et cetera. So I believe the one for the playgrounds is up to $30,000, and you can apply per multiple times, is my understanding.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, it's just one.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, yeah. The limit is 30,000. Okay.
All right, any other discussions?
Revelatory.
I appreciated your comment on when the light comes on too, so yeah, thank you. All right, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 9 reports. 9.1, we have report number 26-063 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025 draft financial statements. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the report recommendation for report number 26-063 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025 draft financial statements be received. Further, that Council approve the 2025 draft financial statements as presented, and further that the 2025 audited financial statements be brought forward to be formally approved at the Council meeting on May 11th, 2026.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. Second, Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I've had some questions around grants in lieu of taxes. The announcement of the project south of the Highway 2 by the airport, that one, the starting of the PRRD building, and then add to that now the BC Hydro project. So I did talk to staff about that. So in the case of the BC Hydro project, they will not be paying property taxes because they're a public utility, but they will pay a grant in lieu, correct? That grant in lieu, does it match what they would be paying as a property tax, given the assessed value and the tax rate at that time, whatever it would be, rather?
Go ahead, Melissa.
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, BC Hydro does pay based on assessment and our tax rates. The only thing that I would need to confirm is whether there's a year delay. So I would need to confirm that in looking at the paperwork specifically from BC Hydro.
Right.
But
so there's an example. We talk about communications asked from a couple of sources. And one of the things that, again, as it relates to this issue of property taxes, is that if there is a urban reserve, they will be a memorandum of understanding that would deal with grants in lieu of taxes that become part of that agreement, correct?
Yeah, through your worship, specific to urban reserves, you enter into a municipal services agreement, and you negotiate delivery of services and the value of that, and they pay that in lieu of taxation. And so, yeah, that'd be a negotiated thing that would come back to council.
Okay.
I guess the other part too, just to clarify on that, if you're talking about the project that was part of the tax revitalization incentive, they're not under the urban reserve.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I was, thank you, but I was aware of that one.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Just making sure I'm right, what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Oh, go ahead, Melissa.
so through your worship, sorry for the delay, but I was able to confirm the grant calculation for BC Hydro for 2026 is that each folio is based on the applicable 2025 assessed values and the 2025 tax rates from the prior year. So they are the one grant that is on a one-year delay.
Yeah. Interesting.
You're good, Councillor Parslow?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
Any other discussion? No. I wanted to just make a few comments just when I was reading through this, and maybe just some things that I mean, there's lots of good things I see, but just a couple bigger ones that I thought was just our debt, going from 18 million to 15.4 million in a year. I think that's a huge shout out to the team, but to the community, to this council. And also, we haven't increased any debt. So, we were projected to increase debt $5 million a year when we came into this term. So, that number last year that went from 18 to 15.4 could, it could actually be 35, right? So, I think that's a big win. I also, last year we faced some challenges too, with losing, part of that hydro investment, and then obviously the hydro in lieu and our investment. So we had a decreased revenue of $1.2 million from those. So we made that up without, a significant tax increase to cover that. Our tax increase was mainly based around the correction of the PRA funding. So I just thought that those were just some big highlights to put, to just highlight when I was going through it. I did have a question too. I just got to find it on page 4 of 35, Melissa, and more just some clarification to me. So just the the $235 million surplus in investments and tangible capital assets, is that just the value of the assets that haven't been depreciated yet? Or just, can you clarify what that means to me, or means? Sorry, I turned to Councillor Parslow on, not you, Melissa.
That's no problem. So through your worship, you're correct. It's a fund that it's used to fund the future year's amortization costs. So it's accounting created. And I always just make sure I say that because you could get the impression that there's $253 million that is available
Yeah.
to spend on capital assets, and that's not the case.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking, so thank you. Okay, and thanks for all the good work in this too, and to you and your team.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Councillor Parslow?
Yeah, there's no one else have a question. I just have a couple of things here. The Hockey Canada event cost over $350,000. Wasn't there some revenue to offset that? What would be the net?
Do you know what page you're on?
I'm on page
3
3
Okay.
of 35.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you know, some people do read these financials, and the $350,000 might be the expense, but there must have been a grant from
revenue.
Hockey Canada and some other revenue, I'm sure.
This wouldn't have the revenue, right?
Through your worship, it would be consolidated within one of those line items, but Ryan has the breakdown here and we'll be able to provide it for you.
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, the Hockey Canada event generated cash and in kind over $430 some odd thousand. And after expenses and legacy, et cetera, there's a net event profit of approximately $45,000.
Right.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
that's great. But do you see how we communicate some of this, right? I only know a couple of guys who read all this stuff. I don't know, it's widespread. But they'll zero in on the event costs, right? But it's offset. There's a standard, isn't it true that we get usually 100,000 from Hockey Canada for these sort of things, right?
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, no.
Okay.
Depends on the event.
Okay.
So each event that Hockey Canada hosts or has the event rights for depends on the history of the event, the type of event, et cetera. So the U17s is a much different event than the Para Cup or the Women's Under 18, and there are different funding models that Hockey Canada has within their organization, their structure, and funding from the Government of Canada and their other different partners will dictate how their funding structure is. The grant, the hosting grant that Hockey Canada provided for the Para Cup, I believe, was $30,000.
Okay, but on the same area here, recreational cultural services have increased by close to nearly $2 million in expenses. That's used to be a $10 million area of our budget. It's now presumably nearly a $12 million. That's quite an increase. Now, part of that is the Hockey Canada event. Increased ice plant repairs, wages increases. How much of that 1.9 was the switch of the Kinrina to multi-sport? That's presumably captured in that.
I think it was 500,000 to 600,000, wasn't it? 550.
from what I remember.
Through your worship, sorry, I'm just trying to find it, but around that amount does sound accurate.
See, part of that's explained, with the 75,000 to the Inventive to support the cost for the ice surface, right? That's mentioned in this list in here. It does say positions related to the full year of the sports floor, but I was wondering what that cost is, because 2 million cost of program recreational cultural services on a 10 million is a 20% increase. And I understand part of it, but not all of it.
So through your worship, that a full year of the sports floor is estimated to cost $983,000. If we wanted a breakdown of every variance that makes up that, I'd have to come back to council with that detail. I don't have the exact breakdown of everything that makes up that 1.3, other than the large items that I noted within the report.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You good, Councillor Parslow?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.2, we have report number 26-073 from the Capital Projects Manager regarding a request for proposal 2026-26 Splash Park Design and Assist Construction Services. Councillor Kempf.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 26-073 from the Capital Projects Manager regarding request for proposals 2026-2026 Splash Park Design, Assist, and Construction Services be received. Further, the Council award the contract for RFP 2026-26 Splash Park Design and Assist and Construction Services to Urban Appeal Landscaping Ltd. for the quoted price of $10,800 excluding taxes.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp, for a second. Councillor Earl, discussion. Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I want to raise a topic that's triggered from this report that is something I think council needs to pay attention to. I did warn staff I was going to ask some questions about this. And I'm focusing, the thing that triggered me is the part here which says concession area. One of the things that I want to draw to council's attention is something that has bothered me, and it's really the fact that we have many facilities, some are run by the city, some run by a society, let's say, on behalf of the city, where we have concessions operating. And we have either direct lease arrangements, or sometimes the organization that we have a lease with sublease. So I'll give you some examples. CAPAC, we have a cafe. We have a business. We have the airport with a cafe. We have a number of businesses at the Lakota on an occasional basis. It may be continuing. I'm not getting into the fine details. It's just a big concern. And then we have at the Mile Zero Park a cafe. We have at the Memorial Arena a cafe. And now we are seemingly looking at another, presumably, let's call it a cafe, but we know it would serve drinks and stuff like that. Now, this comes is talked about with me on an occasional basis, and I had a conversation quite recently that triggered this. You know, the small business in every community is a core part of the vitality of our community. And I asked staff if we had any policy to guide us. And in fairness to staff, if I think of things ahead of a meeting, that might be awkward, that needed some research, I let staff know ahead of time, right? Because every business that we support in some of our facilities, public facilities, the appearance is that we're taking away an opportunity or taking potential customers away from those concessions and those coffee shops where people are paying property tax, insurance, and so on. And we're giving these entities at taxpayers' expense a lift that it's not an even playing field. Now, I'm aware for the case of the airport, the notion always was when we had passenger service, right, that it would be a good service to have at the airport. We don't have a passenger service at the airport now. Custom is going to the airport cafe, which has been seemingly given some lift and a lower rate, It's an unfair playing field. And it harms our businesses. So I'm just wondering, is there a rational approach to do this? Or do we have some guiding principles? If we don't, should we? I can understand why there's a cafe at Memorial Arena, right? You know what I mean? I understand why there's such there. But how do we make it so it's not giving one type of business a taxpayer-assisted presence, or at least the appearance of a tax-assisted presence in our community over someone, a business that is paying property taxes, insurance, all their utilities. And I'd like to have a rational approach to it, in fairness to our business community. So that's just a flag that I think needs attention. It doesn't impede this at the moment, but if you're going to set up another cost centre, which this council is doing by doing this, that question might come up again. And I think it's something that we as this council's never really talked about. But it does bother me because I understand the reasons in some instances. I don't know if we have a framework for making these decisions about what the lease would be, who covers what costs. And so I just see it's a bit of an Achilles heel. So that's all I want to say about it.
Okay. So one, I appreciate you giving us a heads up because that gives me an opportunity to ask some questions, and so I don't sit here and stare into the abyss. So thank you for that. So for the facilities that we directly manage, so the memorial and the airport are a couple examples. Those spaces in there go through a public procurement process. So it goes out to RFP. They pay taxes. They pay the market rate for lease. It's based on, so we get those market rates from realtors and such. So, and I guess we chatted a bit about policy, and so we don't have policy, but we have the community charter, which talks about assisting business. So that's our guide, is to ensure that we're not assisting business. So in those particular aspects, I think, it's very defendable. We're not subsidizing. It's market. They're paying market. They're paying their expenses, and the lease agreements come to council for approval. So you would have seen the airport. You would have seen Memorial Arena. You would have seen that at the airport. Wasn't all that terribly long ago, I don't think. So now, when you talk about facilities that we have essentially own and turned over to societies, groups to run, so whether that's the Calvin Crook Center, Mile Zero,
Curling rink,
and such like that, generally now they are then in turn subleasing spaces or having activities going on or running a campground, all for the purpose of trying to balance off their bottom line. Because if they don't, guess where they're coming? They're coming to see us for more money, so it increases the subsidies. So in those cases, those groups are doing those things. And I'm not saying it's perfect or right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's the intent there, is to offset their expenses. And if they didn't, they would likely be sitting in front of you asking for a greater subsidy. There's probably more work we can do on the sublease aspects to make sure that's clean and talk about those market values and just ensure that we're not indirectly assisting business. But, and Tab or Ryan, if I missed anything, feel free to jump in. But that's kind of how we approach it. Like I said, the ones that we directly manage, we go through a public procurement and we have market rates. The ones that we turn over to other groups, we don't have that same level of control. So I can't say what Lakota may or may not be doing in there for as far as having businesses running. But I would suspect they're probably using that opportunity to generate revenue to help offset expenses like cleaning, ductwork, and such.
Go ahead, Tab.
And to add to what Kevin said for clarity, those that are businesses and are not-for-profits, they pay taxes. So those agreements go to BC Assessment. Taxes are assessed on the space that they're leasing, and they are responsible for the taxes for their space.
Thank you. Councillor Parslow, did you have a follow-up to that?
Yeah, are they also responsible for insurance?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just take either example, whether it's direct city-owned or subleased, by having these places, right, business that might have gone to a regularly established business is being lost, right? So it's at a cost to our people who are paying regular business community. But the instance of the sublease, it seems to me that when we were dealing with Cape Pat, we didn't like the fact, I say we, the council, that they were not paying a rate that was comparative to what they would be required to pay if they were leasing on the free market system. Mm-hmm. And so if that's the case, I think we should establish some guidelines. It just doesn't seem fair to the rest of the business community.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the sublease instances, there's more work to do, probably.
Now, the airport, just one last comment. Yes, so it goes out to tender. And whoever, I bet you we only had one or two bids on it. Mm-hmm. it could well be, even though it was an open process, that whatever the highest bid was would still probably be lower than the normal for this community.
I believe they're still paying market rate for lease rates.
Really?
And there was a percentage of revenue sharing that we receive.
It's not, that's interesting, that's revelatory to me,
Yeah.
as it relates to the airport.
And it may have evolved over the years at the airport too. I don't know off the top of my head.
I was just getting close to that.
Charlie, you get to use the word revelatory 3 times in a meeting.
Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor McDonald here.
I love that word.
Thank you, Worship. Actually, I just had a question about the concession as well, and what our hope and intent there was. Are we hoping that it is something that'll be open and rented all summer months, or is it something that we're more hoping that user groups like baseball or the pickleball come in and lease from us on like one-off situations for tournaments, etc.?
Through your worship to Councillor McDonald. So we're in the design phase right now, not necessarily attuned concurrently on the operational aspect of it. That's coming along, so it's not that we're ignoring it, but right now we're at the 60% design phase. And so as we go through the design phase, we're looking at those options of like, you know, there has to be bathrooms, there has to be a mechanical room. Well, if you're building all this already, what would a cost potentially be of a concession space to add on the extra X square feet? The current discussion is to include a space, but yet as we go through this design assist process, and we go from 60% to 70%, 80 and 90 and 100% construction drawings, that we'll understand whether it's viable or not from a cost aspect. Right now, the intent of that concession space is really, when you think of a concession, in my mind, I think of the Memorial Arena, right? Like deep fryers and all that. This would not be that. It's really doing, very commissary type things. So plug-in electrical items, ice cream,
slushy drinks, ice
stuff
creams,
like that, right?
stuff like that.
No like deep fryers, things like that. And really during the operational season to be defined, I don't know what that is at this immediate moment for that space, for it to go out to bid through a public procurement process for operation for the summer.
Okay.
But yet to be determined, right now we're focusing on, we're at 60% design, and so we have still more to go to figure out all the specific details and all that sort of stuff. So right now it's part of the design for us for consideration. But now once we get on to this, after this next step, as we start working through the next step of the design process of bringing that contractor on to really start honing in on those costs and opportunities or value engineering items within the project.
Okay. And I did find the timeline in there of completion in 2027. That still puts us in line for having used the Community Futures Fund in time. What if we end up in a delay to 28? Will we be in trouble of losing that money?
Through your worship to Councillor McDonald, our intent right now is based on some of the preliminary conversations and sort of the charting out everything, is that we are looking to be operational in the summer at some point within 2027. And so I believe the deadline it expires December 31st, 2027.
Okay.
So as we go through the design assist process, this is one of the big things, right? This is that for us to
I feel like we're in a rush.
Yeah, so we're working through those dates and checkpoints all the way through and those milestones. And I think that we have a good feeling about the information that we have, but we're still at only 60%. And as we get closer to that, that 80, 90, that's really going to come to reality of like, are those milestones and dates going to fall into place? Right now we feel confident, but as we go through that design process, something could change.
Okay. just fear of,
Our intention
a
is-
lengthy Northern Health decision or something like that really giving us a curveball that affects us.
Yeah, through your worship, I think right now there has been some pretty positive conversations with Northern Health and some of the, and that, I don't want to say the permitting process, but the conversations that have been having, being very forward. We're working with, we got information from the city of Kamloops because they have a recirculating stuff and their learned experiences, and so we've taken that and taken some of the different information and we're working with similar people or the same people, and so we are feeling at this point positive with those timeframes. So right now, it's all good. I think we're just going through those motions.
Would it be too much to ask that maybe we had a small presentation on what you did learn from the learned experience from Kamloops and about the recirc system and how it functions and how it'll apply to our environment up here, and just so we know, right? For me, it feels like we have a lot of unanswered questions, right, on just how this is going to work, how it's going to be operated, et cetera, right?
Yeah, through your worship, I don't see that being insurmountable. I think that when we come to the next point within the checkpoint here in the next couple of weeks, as we get through a couple more hurdles, and I think we can come back with some sort of presentation or
this is what we've learned.
But it's not just learn, but where we are with the process and all
100%.
that sort of stuff. So I think that we can certainly come back and give you more information in the coming weeks.
I think that'd be nice.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. One opposed. Councillor Parslow. Next, 10 bylaws, I believe. Yes, 10 bylaws. 10.1 report number 26-062 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding tax rates bylaw number 4631 2026 for consideration of first three readings. Councillor Kempf.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 26-062 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding tax rates bylaw number 4631 2026 be received. Further, that tax rates bylaw number 4631 2026 be given first three readings.
Thank you, Councillor Kempf. Do I have a second? Councillor Apollonio, discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, Mayor's business. Mayor's updates. I'll just kind of go through these fairly quick. It's a little bit longer because I wasn't at the last council meeting. So if there's questions at the end, feel free to ask. So Aubert, I just went to an open house there in the last month. Just on a program that they had that was completing is why I was there. But it was just a nice opportunity to go there and meet a lot of the team from Aubert and just. I know a bit of what they do, but always to learn more, but really to thank them for what they do as well. So it's an amazing organization that helps a lot in our community. I had a meeting with EDF Power Solutions. They're one of the wind power projects. They were just in town, so I had a meeting with them, just more like a meet and greet kind of. Came to the office. Paracup. We had a celebration. So I'm not going to get into the Paracup in detail because I think we've already around along the path since Paracup thanked everybody a lot, but it was a celebration presentation for some sticks for some of the companies and organizations that contributed, and we also did check presentations, part of the legacy fund of Hockey Canada. So that was really good. I did want to thank Kim as well, and Ryan and the team just for all their efforts in everything. It's pretty phenomenal. So it was just a really nice, celebration. Really, there was a lot of community groups and organizations in here, so it was just nice to thank everybody. I also did jersey presentations on those that were different levels of sponsorships. So we gave one to the Peace River Regional District, one to Soto First Nations, one to West Moberly First Nations, and one to Tumbler Ridge. And I have one more that I haven't given out yet, so that's coming up this week. So did that in the last couple of weeks. The one that we haven't given out is Dwight River, which I didn't, they're probably not listening right now, so.
What? Come on. They love us.
Koi Cup, I just wanted to, give a huge shout out to the Dawson Creek Canucks organization for their efforts in hosting the Koi Cup here for the very first time. Yeah, and hoisting, yes. It was just great for the community. That arena was full for most games, so it was just amazing to see just everybody that was excited about it. It was very inspirational, and they came out on top. So that's just a huge congratulations to that whole organization, to the players, to the leadership team, to all of it. As well, they did drop off a medal for us, so it's just in the display case out front. So it's a pretty nice looking medal. So if you got time, just take a look. And Kathy has graciously redone the whole display case out there too. So if you've noticed, it is she did a marvelous job. So it looks great. We went out to West Moberly First Nations and just had an update kind of on the MOU meeting. There wasn't a lot that came from that. We just kind of went through the MOU, had some discussion back and forth, things that they're working on. We are. On my way out there, I did stop by Soto First Nations prior to going there and just met with Chief Paquette, and actually their council came in too. So we just had a conversation for an hour just about everything. So it was good. And actually, while I'm on Soto, I was going to say this at the end, but they just had an election. So they had an election a couple weeks ago, but they just had their chief election, which I think finalized this morning. So I did want to congratulate Chief Paquette, who was nominated as chief there, and is the chief moving forward, and also their 4 councillors. So they have Ashley Barrett, Donovan Cameron, Justin Gauthier, and Tammy Watson. So just a huge congratulations to Soto First Nations and their chief and council, and we look forward to continuing to build our relationship with them. So at a meeting with Wayne Plennert a few weeks ago, Kevin and I did just kind of an update on their project, and it seems like things are moving along well. I was at Mountain Christian School for grade 6 class visit. Went up there. Anytime I can get to the schools, it's so enjoyable. But I was with them for an hour. Actually, talked about everything from life to this role to my, business life outside of here, growing up. It was pretty much everything you could imagine was discussed, and there was a lot of questions that came my way. So it was, it's always amazing, and the questions that come, it's phenomenal, really. So, went to Dawson Creek Dance Co. They had their King's Court banquet. So I attended that a little bit ago. We sponsored that. So just wanted to give a shout out to them as well to their organization for organizing it, but to all the dancers too, like all the youth that were there dancing and performing. It was nice. It was great to see. Northern Health Early Years Health Fair was at the Dawson Mall. I feel like all of this was last week, but I think it was all a few weeks ago. But yeah, I got to attend that. So that was amazing too. They had a huge turnout. There must have been like 30 plus booths set up. So it was amazing to see. There was lots of people in walking around, and they all seemed to be very happy with the turnout. So it was just nice to see. And it was neat to see just all the youth providers too. It was great, and they were very appreciative that took the time to go there. So it was really nice. Trade show, that as well. I attended the trade show. Thank you to the city team for being down there as well, tourism, and the communications team for putting that together, but also council as well that participated and worked at the trade show. It was great. I think we did see the numbers. It was quite a bit more than it was in the past, but from majority of the vendors that I spoke to, like I spent most of the time just talking to them, but probably 80% of the vendors were very happy with the turnout. And it's something that's getting rebuilt too. It used to be a very prominent thing in Dawson Creek, and then went away for a few years and has been back. So I was just really grateful to see that there was some traction in the parking lot on Saturday when I pulled in. There was packed. Like there was a really good turnout. So. HF Nodes invited me to, they have their annual safety meeting, which they host all of their team from Nodes and PC Oilfield, so in all their divisions. So I just went there and visited with them, really just thank them for their contributions to our community. It goes way back with Nodes, and Myrna and the whole family, and their whole team is like a family. So it was nice just to join them for an hour, and I always appreciate the invite. I was in Victoria last week with my, I guess, Peace River Regional District hat on, but I was also down there on behalf of the city of Dawson Creek because we contributed to my way of getting down there. So it was really good, actually. Was down there for a full day. I kind of just flew in and out. It was a very quick trip, but there's a couple things that I noticed from being down there when it's not UBCM is that the time we had with our meetings was very engaging. Like there wasn't like that. Speed
dating?
Yeah. So it was just really nice. So I think it's just something we should consider, like UBCM, to set these up, but that we do. Maybe in our budget, we start considering that it's once a year or maybe twice a year we go down there for 3 or 4 days and set up these meetings because, yeah, it was just really good. So I did mention earlier when the staff sergeant was here, one of our meetings was with Minister Krager, who's the Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General. So there was quite a bit that was talked there. So I spoke a bit more at this one. But I brought up the IIO, which is just the Independent Investigation Office for the RCMP, and just the potential of there being a division in the northern part of BC, because there's not. And it puts a lot of weight on RCMP. So they heard that, and they were very appreciative that I brought it up. I got into a lot more details than I can right now, but yeah, there was. They were very appreciative of that. There was also the head of RCMP was there. There was 6 or 7 in the room from that, so it was really good. I did thank them. We've had a lot of dialogue with them since we've been on this council for the last 3.5 years, just around violent crimes and keeping offenders locked up. So there has been a change, and we're seeing those getting dealt with a little bit quicker, and people are getting locked up. The staff sergeant spoke of that earlier today. Did thank them for that, as well as from our last meeting, they connected us with Laurie Stevens, who is the head of Crown Council. So we had a meeting with that, so I thanked him for that. There's also a big thing about property crime and the smaller crimes that we're facing, and that the staff sergeant talks about lots, and that I hear from the community lots, or we do. So I brought that up. Talked about North District. There's also a big push. There's been some bigger criminal activity in the rural industry lately in the last 4 to 6 months, so we brought that up with her as well. It was great dialogue. There was a bit more, but I won't get into too much more. We then also met with Minister Popham. She's Minister of Agriculture and Foods. So that one. There was a lot of different things. She's actually coming up here for an AGM for the Grain Association, so which is coming up soon. But there was quite a bit around that. It was just around use for agricultural land. There was some. It's a tough one because there's multiple different ministries that get involved in a lot of that stuff. So there was talk about wildlife and some of the stuff that's happening to farmland and disrupting farmland. And then we had a meeting with the Premier and Minister Anderson as well, with the Minister of State of Local Government. So that was, from the Peace River Regional District side, it was a big part of the discussion was just communication. There was a lot of things that were discussed. And I also had an opportunity to discuss our water, which it worked out well. I didn't take away time from the regional district, but I had a really good conversation with the Premier on our water, and just a follow up from our meeting in Prince George that we had while we were down there. So Yeah, it was really good. He was, he made some notes on it and is going to get back to me on some of that stuff. So, and then I think last, before I turn the page, the homeschool group Beauty and the Beast performance. Oh no, I have more. Not the last. There's another page. Councillor Parslow actually and myself and Mary were over there a couple weeks ago for something else, just something personal, but we got invited in to kind of get a pre-show of what the homeschooling group was doing. So it was amazing. It was, I've watched them every year, so it was actually nice to go there on a practice because I got to like talk to the youth and thank them for what they're doing because it is inspirational what they do. Where when you go watch the plays, you don't actually get the opportunity to talk to them afterwards. You can say good job, but this was really nice to just to really thank them, but also thank the parents, Kara who organizes it, and then the parents that put all the effort into to really putting these performances on, and because they're the real ones that put all the effort in, and then those youth get to shine. So it was just nice to do that, and then they did a couple of skits for us, and Councillor Parslow was pretty happy, and
Pretty happy about that.
yeah, it was good. So that I was kind of hoping they were going to get him up to sing, but they didn't take him up on the offer. But
You seem to know the director very well.
yeah. Yeah, Kara, she does a phenomenal job, so yeah. Yeah, and then I actually also, last Thursday, I was able to attend, before I headed out, one of their performances at KPAC, so it was amazing. There's 40 youth, not all homeschooled, there's some that are in the school system as well. But yeah, just to see them to get up there and perform in front of a couple hundred people, it's just so phenomenal to see ages from 5 to 14 and how they get up there and how confident they are. Yeah, just something that I didn't have at age 5 to 14. I can assure you of that. So it's very inspirational to see that. And I believe out of the 5 shows they had, 3 of them were sold out. So it was, it was really good for them. Next, there's an NCL, just a reminder on here for those that are attending NCLG. I think it's Councillor McDonald and Councillor Parslow that Northern Health did put a request in just to meet if you guys have time while you're down there. So if you do have time, just let Kathy know and she can book that. UBCM just had this in here. I wanted to briefly touch on that we just should start thinking a little bit about meetings with ministers and premiers. Because that'll start coming to us in the next month. I think beginning of May, the administrative team has a meeting, or there's a call with UBCM on how that process works and how we get the meetings. So that will be coming out soon. So just to put your thoughts there. Public Works, I just wanted to give a bit of a thank you to, I guess a dual part thank you, one to our residents. We've had, quite the season this year, right, since January with the thaw and freeze and snow and everything that's been coming in. And then the quick spring and the melt-off. And just a thank you to the residents on their patience as we, process and deal with everything and move through it. The city team has done a phenomenal job considering what has come their way. But do realize that they can only do so much, and we do need some patience from our community, and the community has been really patient. So I just wanted to thank them, but also wanted to take this opportunity to thank Kevin, to thank the Public Works team. There's been numerous, I don't even know, like at least 3 or 4 instances just in the last couple of weeks that that have reached out to this office that we had to deal with, and just whether they were concerns or things that were good, but the city team was absolutely phenomenal on addressing all of them and just making them, feel like their voices were heard and helping them. So we've also got emails back saying how grateful they have been and how thankful they are. I've got text messages as well, and phone calls from residents that have been really happy. So I just wanted to take this moment, and that's a hard department because they deal with a lot, and it's easy to get to hear a lot of the negative stuff all the time. So But there is a lot of good that comes with it, so I just wanted to give them a shout out, so thank you. All right, I'm done talking. Any questions?
Have a drink.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next 11.2, our delegation request from the Kiwanis Performing Arts Center. So I guess just before Councillor Parslow.
I'd like to move that we grant their request of $2,500 to support the cost of adjudicators.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kemp, second. I'm guessing, would that come out of the grant budget, or is that something that can come out of ECDEV? Because I can't remember what our grant budget's at, but I think from what I remember last time, we've only got about $4,500 left.
Yeah, so through your worship, it should come out of grants. It's not, I don't think it's an ECDEV exercise.
No? Okay.
So again, even if you go over in grants, you
We
just
can-
offset on the other side, but you should always put it where it's best suited.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Councillor McDonald?
I was just curious through your worship to staff, how much grant money have we given CAPAC, or how much have we given them in the past 12 months?
Well, I don't have that right in front of me, but we did,
77.
yeah, we forgave that
We forgave the
75,000.
loan.
Plus
Did we
there's some
give funds
subsidies.
for Comic-Con?
No.
No, we didn't give funds for Comic-Con?
No, we did the festival a couple years ago. That was, I can't remember what that was.
Multicultural, I think the city's probably done it.
So it is a separate from CAPAC as well. The group is separate than CAPAC.
It's not a CAPAC request, it's
It's an arts request.
an arts request?
Okay.
Thank you.
Good, yeah, you're welcome. All right, any other discussion? No, I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried, one opposed. Councillor McDonald, I need to just call a 5-minute break, so. April 27th, 2026, back to order. Next order of business was 11.3. Tab, this is already deferred, so if we're wanting to do something different right now, like because it's deferred, it's right on the table right now, so if we want to defer it again, like, what do I need to do? Is there an open motion? Because I wasn't here for this, so.
Through your worship, to my understanding, the presentation was presented to council, and any decisions regarding the different loops was deferred until you came back to the meeting and had a chance to discuss it with council. So if council is not ready to make a decision at this time, you can, it's still deferred.
So we don't have to do anything then?
No, you can just note that this is here and it's still deferred, and staff will just operationally move it forward.
Okay.
Or bring it forward when you guys are ready.
Okay, I think that's kind of what the direction is of council, so we don't need to do anything then.
No.
Okay, all right, everybody's good with that? Okay. Next, 12, Chief Administrative Officer Operational Update.
Thank you. Tab's going to be so kind to just put up a graph for us on the screen. So this is the start of the freshet in the Kiskatna. And what you'll see there is the blue, which is the average from 1999 until current. And the 2026 is the yellow orangish color.
So it's up there.
And so what we're seeing is a delayed melt, which is good news. And then the trajectory is more consistent with the normal average. So it's trending good, which we needed a slower melt, which we're getting. Previous years were, that line would have been on the other side of the average and much lower. So it's all positive. We're seeing it is melting out in the watershed and it's making its way, and we're seeing those flows increase. So
how's Bear Hole Lake going? Is it replenished
still
or is it
frozen.
still frozen?
It's still froze. So we're a little bit away just because of where it is. another couple weeks, maybe a month. So I was out at Moberly yesterday, and I mean, it's still frozen. It's starting to get slushy around the edges, and there's open at one end or the other. But another week of warm weather, which we're going to see, it might open up. And Bear Hole will be behind it. So yeah, that's good news. Other than that, the only thing, and thank you for the comments on Public Works. Yes, it's been a more typical spring, which has been different for a lot of folks because it hasn't been that way for 4 or 5 years. We've had drier winters, which results in a lot less potholes and drainage issues. And so this year was more typical. And we got a lot of challenges. And we're over the proverbial hump, I think, and starting to make some headway, but that doesn't mean we still don't have a lot of work ahead of us. So we're moving forward on sweeping streets and filling potholes and brooming off boulevards and all those spring things. So it's all very good to see. And again, like you said, appreciate people's patience because it's always an anxious time of year. Everybody wants to see it clean up and green up and all of that. So so any questions?
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Kevin.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Next, 13 diary. Nothing in the diary. 14 consent calendar. Anybody want to lift anything from the consent calendar? No. Motion to accept the consent calendar. I guess thank you to all the departments for their updates. Yeah.
It's a lot of reading this weekend.
Yeah. Huge thank you to everybody for all their updates. So, okay. Motion to accept. Councillor Sudnick, second. Councillor McDonald. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. That's carried. 15, media questions. 16, recess to close meeting. Motion to move into closed for agenda item 5.2, section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations. Agenda item 5.3, 6.1, 7.1, section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provisions of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that in the view of council could reasonably be expected to harm the interest of the municipality if they are held in public. Agenda item 5.1, section 91I, the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, and section 91J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Agenda item 6.1, section 92B3, the consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and a First Nation. Agenda item 7.1, section 92B2, the consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and another local government. And agenda item 7.1, section 91E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements, if the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interest of the municipality. Councillor Earl. Councillor Kemp. Thank you for not asking me to reread it.
I missed that last one.
Yeah. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. I was almost going to hand the paper beside me. All right, I'd like to call the regular council meeting for Monday, April 27th, 2026 back to order. Just need to go to item 10.1 as there was a bit of an issue, so I will just pass this over to Melissa on the bylaw. So over to you, Melissa.
So thank you, through your worship. There's been a small change in the rates for the tax rate bylaw, and so I apologize for that. There is no change overall in the requisition value between the PRD land and the requisition for land and improvements. There's a small adjustment in the rates just because now we need to reclaim a higher value on a lower value of assessment because it was just for the improvements. So no overall impact to the taxpayer, but a small impact on the rate just because of which assessment it is and isn't on. And so the revised Schedule B has been included for reconsideration of for the 3 readings today. So I apologize for that.
That's totally fine. That's all good. Thank you, Melissa. Everybody understand? Okay, so I'll just make a motion that council rescind the 3rd reading of the tax rates bylaw number 4631 2026 and give and reread the 3rd reading as amended to replace Schedule B with the attached Schedule B. Second, Councillor McDonald. Is that fine, Deb? Okay, any discussion? We'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. We're good? Okay, thank you very much. I will now vary the agenda to 16.1, resolution to move into the meeting of council closed to the public.
Do you need to read the whole thing over again?
Yeah. Do I need to read? No. Just 6.1, right? So agenda item 6.1, section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages and that in the view of council could reasonably be expected to harm the interest of the municipality if they are held at public. And agenda item 6.1, section 92B3, the consideration of information received held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and First Nations. Councillor Kemp, second. Councillor McDonald, call that to vote. Manually? Oh. Vote is closed. That's carried.